The scene opens under a clear sky outside a university hospital building with someone expressing a deep desire to live. Next, a file is being opened, labeled with the name Kim Isaac. The doctor informs him that he has a disease previously unknown to medical science, and thus, his name will be given to it. He tells Isaac, "You have no more than 6 months to live." Isaac, overwhelmed with despair, crumples the report in his hand. In the following scene, Isaac stands hopelessly alone amidst a busy street outside the hospital. He bumps shoulders with a passerby and assumes people are whispering about him, wondering if something is wrong. He thinks this can't be the end. After working diligently like a worker ant, he was finally ready to settle down. As the signal turns red, he questions, "Am I truly going to die?" He walks slowly across the street while cars on both sides wait at the light. A man shows him shouting, "It's dangerous. Move faster." He falls on the crosswalk, groaning in pain. He thinks bitterly that this is a death sentence and that it's incredibly unfair. Just then, he notices a lottery ticket that has fallen from his pocket. He realizes that it's the day he won the jackpot, lamenting the cruel irony. Carefully, he cries out, "I want to live. I don't want to die." He insists, "I'd be happy with anything else." His tears land on the lottery ticket as he pleads, sobbing, "Don't let me die." The scene shifts to a monstrous world where Isaac, now a skeleton, reflects bitterly, "I get asked to live on in this state." He complains, "I'm reincarnated as a bald skeleton. I can't even defecate in this form." Suddenly, 3 monstrous creatures ambush him from behind. He retaliates, slicing them apart, their blood dripping from his blade. Then, he senses another attack from behind. Turning around, he sees a gigantic monster attempting to crush him underfoot. He leaps into the air, thinking this must be the end, but attacks a monster midair. Shouting at it to die, the monster roars, but he strikes again and decapitates it. He declares the subjugation of the rebel forces is complete. As he strides forward, he recalls that after his reincarnation, he began as the lowest-ranking demon, a skeleton, and gradually evolved into an undead king, a lick. Numerous monsters line up and cheer as he walks past, hailing him as the immortal king. He remembers surviving the demon outlaws who were nearly exterminated over the centuries. Blushing, he reflects, "I may be bald, but now I am a demon king." The monsters chant his name, which comes from his ruthless and cunning nature, celebrating loudly Isaac. He corrects them, shouting, "My name is Isaac," and berates them, "You idiots always get it wrong." They ask, "Where are you going?" He replies, "I'm going to collect my payment." His ultimate goal, he thinks, is to eat food, defecate, and become a human. Next, in the divine realm, people are shocked as Isaac declares, "I have defeated the rebel monsters." He addresses the gods, informing them that he has eliminated their enemies and asks whether the agreement still holds. He reminds them they promised to make him human. The gods express disbelief. "We thought it would take you at least 500 years, one says. "You're insane," another mutters. Meanwhile, a messenger leans in and whispers to a goddess. Many high-ranking nobles colluded to exploit him without compensation. She is stunned. Isaac, hearing them, steps forward. "Why are you stalling?" "You made a promise," he demands. One deity responds hesitantly, "Can you complete one more task?" Isaac clenches his teeth in fury. Even as a skeleton, they should know when to stop. His eyes glow red with rage. "You're trying to enslave me," he shouts. "I won't forgive you, not even if you're gods." He begins casting powerful magic. "You don't even know how to turn me into a human. You just use me," he accuses. One goddess whispers, "Isaac might have caught on." Another replies, "I never agreed to the contract in the first place." They regret their decision to sign with such a savage. Isaac, now rampaging, unleashes destruction. He declares only forbidden summoning techniques allow the gods to create or destroy, and as an undead, "I am not alive." He warns, "If you can't turn someone like me who can endanger the divine realm into a human, then you're useless." Terrified, the gods plead for more time, promising, "We will fulfill the contract if you just complete a few more tasks." Isaac ignores them and proclaims, "As payment for breaking your promise, I will kill you all." Grinning wickedly, he adds, "You will all become skeletons." He raises his hand and attacks, laughing maniacally. Suddenly, his magic vanishes and he finds himself frozen. He asks, "Why can't I move?" One of the gods smirks and explains, "The name inscribed on a bug in your hand renders that person immobile. Your name is written on it." They command, "Eradicate destruction." They explain this high-class divine technique was used in the past to seal away disasters like you, like them. They ask, "How could a mere demon dare threaten us?" They mock him, saying he should be grateful to have served as their tool. Isaac sarcastically asks, "Why didn't you just use a caterpillar?" clearly still bitter about his hair. They mock him for obsessing over hair, calling him foolish. Suddenly, the bug lights up and begins to disintegrate. The gods look on in confusion. Isaac mocks them. "You should have acted quickly instead of trying to be sneaky." He declares, "I'd rather die than become a bug." As they try to stop him, he casts a final spell and explodes. Frustrated, the gods call him insane. Two gods inspect the bug crawling on the ground, confirming that the ritual activated properly. They conclude Isaac's soul should be sealed. They discuss how the disappearance of demons strengthens them, but also acknowledge that they must remain vigilant as new disasters could arise. They resolve to create the perfect safe vessel in the human world to annihilate all demons. One god, visibly drained, is reassured by another as he prepares to choose a soul for the saint's body. Holding the bug, he sneers the foolish demon king will remain imprisoned in that form. He vows to discipline him. Next, Isaac, assuming he has been reincarnated as a bug, tells himself, "Focus. Don't lose composure just because the gods tricked you." He questions, "Have I become stupid?" Considering that skeletons don't have brains, he opens his eyes and is surprised by the brightness. Shocked to find he has eyes, he laments, "As a bug, I can't even use my hands to shield them." But then he notices his hands, soft and warm. Bewildered, he realizes he has a human body. The male nanny smirks wickedly as he attempts to feed Isaac, muttering an insincere apology. "Sorry, but I must put you to sleep for eternity." He tries to insert the feeder into Isaac's mouth, but Isaac resists repeatedly. Irritated, the nanny wonders, why does he refuse to eat? Isaac, meanwhile, reflects, "I just became human. There's absolutely no way I'm going to consume something so suspicious," and questions if they're mocking him. He silently asked himself why he had become human in the first place. The male nanny instructs the female nanny to mimic a baby and stuff her mouth so she can leave. She addresses Isaac respectfully. "Sir Isaac, what did you just say?" Isaac is stunned and furious, wondering, did she just call the male nanny by his name? He recalls the monsters referring to him as Lord Isaac and assumes it must be an alternate pronunciation of his real name, Isaac. He contemplates whether the gods had used Asa instead of Isaac. This realization leads him to understand why he was not sealed. On top of that, he has reincarnated into a body bearing the same name. He grins malevolently, mouth wide open, considering how those arrogant gods became careless and failed to seal him properly. Just then, the nanny forcefully shoves the feeder into his mouth. Enraged, Isaac fights back, and the nannies are bewildered by the baby's unexpected strength. As he drinks, he questions, "Is this vegetable juice?" And if they are attempting to poison him with such a repulsive concoction, especially since he has only just become human. Stunningly, he senses something ominous entering his body, and their sinister smiles confirm his suspicion. The scene shifts to the Holy Helen Empire's Central Eastern Temple, where a bishop walks with a couple behind him. He thinks by now the child should be finished. At that moment, the Emperor of the Holy Helen Empire, Alexander Heathcliff Hella, appears before him and remarks, "The bishop seems to be in high spirits." The bishop bows respectfully, as do the couple, greeting Alexander as the son of the Empire. Alexander inquires, "Why is a bishop present?" The bishop explains, "The Joshua family has come to offer their greetings to the saint candidate, and the sanctites cannot help but be concerned with the saint." Alexander responds, "I understand. Since the matter concerns the saint, you should have come personally." He warns, it would be most unfortunate if another accident were to occur. After entrusting the saint to the sanctids, the scene returns to Isaac's room, where people praise him, calling him adorable and complimenting his full chubby belly, referring to him as an angel baby. They notice that he has already consumed 15 bottles of the vile vegetable juice. The bishop grows anxious, thinking it is impossible for Isaac to be alive. Staring at the empty bottles, he wonders if the child truly ingested that many. Panic intensifies as he concludes it's not just the vegetable juice. Moments earlier, Isaac sensed something ominous entering his body. He identified it as halibane, a deadly poison that destroys the divine powers of clerics. The nanny assumed it might not act immediately, but that a sufficient dose would eventually be fatal. Isaac, however, decides to convert the poison into mana of the demon. For a former demon lord like him, this turns out to be a blessing. He laughs inwardly, unable to believe they handed him a source of demon mana. Delighted, he resolves to consume large amounts of this so-called magic baby food. Then he begins crying fiercely, demanding more. The nannies confused wonder, does he want additional juice? Isaac focuses on mana generation. He decides to consolidate the mana he has absorbed into a mana core, knowing he needs one in order to use magic. If he wishes to cast spells in the future, he must complete this process. Just then, something explodes inside him, startling him. He looks within and realizes that although a mana core is typically colored, his is entirely white. However, he understands that color is not the issue. He hasn't compacted the mana properly into the small core. Suddenly, he notices a strange energy and questions, is something amiss? He senses that it far surpasses his expectations. As he moves toward it, he wonders how many divine blessings have been imbued in this young body. He considers that, with effort, he could evolve into a creature far more powerful than he ever imagined. He extends his hand toward the energy. His name appears, accompanied by an option labeled Survive. He selects it, believing that his most desperate desire, etched deep within his soul, is survival. This, he realizes, is the origin of what would become the Skeleton King. He successfully creates original buffs and skills, inheriting them from his current body. While laughing triumphantly, the nannies, observing his calm demeanor, wonder, has he finally passed away? At that moment, Isaac lifts a finger to signal he's still alive. Frustrated, they cry out in irritation. Isaac cackles darkly and requests another bottle. The scene shifts to the present. Alexander exhales with relief, remarking, "I'm glad nothing has happened to Isaac." Isaac, however, thinks to himself that although he was nearly assassinated, nothing much came of it. He looks at the bishop, who grows visibly uncomfortable and wonders, "Why is he staring at me like that?" But Isaac instead looks at the empty bottles and questions whether he really drank so many. Deciding that he cannot risk raising suspicion yet, he plays the fool, and smiles. This smile infuriates the bishop, who begins to wonder if something is wrong with the child. He had expected Isaac to be on the brink of death, vomiting blood, not smiling smugly. This mockery stings deeply. The male nanny hands Isaac another bottle with a faint smile, saying they would be even happier if you drank more, since the vegetable juice doesn't act immediately. Isaac drinks it gleefully, thinking that mana absorption is a victory. Now he resolves to abandon the conscious world and descend into the subconscious realm, to the deepest layer, the world of origin, where mana is born. He believes he will be safe there. A few days earlier, at the headquarters of the Holy See, the bishop informs Harry Barrett, the cardinal and head of House Barrett, that whoever becomes the saint will possess the Holy Empire. Harry takes a glass of wine, scoffs at the notion, and calls it a lame joke. He remarks this is the reason why noble families are declaring one of their children as the saint. The bishop tells him not to worry and assures him, "I am handling the other candidates." He then mentions that he has heard a rumor. A saint candidate has appeared from House Ezua. Harry pauses for a moment. The bishop adds, House Ezua is the emperor's right hand and implies there is nothing he can do about it. Harry hurls the glass to the floor and declares the candidate has likely died before arriving, stating that he only needs the bishop to verify the corpse. He asserts the saint must come from House Barrett alone. The scene shifts to the present, where the bishop stands in shock, staring at the child, unable to believe that he is still alive. He had been told the baby would be dead, yet here he is. It becomes difficult for him to trust what his eyes are seeing. Alexander gently touches Isaac's hair, commenting it is strange. The founder of our holy empire had the same hair color, a radiant platinum blonde like Isaac's. The bishop appears stunned and tells Alexander, "You should not speak such blasphemy." Isaac looks at Alexander and realizes that this man is the emperor. Alexander remarks Isaac looks even closer to God than the current pope, and declares that he must be the final saint candidate. Isaac is taken aback, struggling to believe what he hears, wondering if this baby, his new form, is truly the saint candidate. The bishop grows alarmed, realizing the emperor is beginning to favor the child, and he cannot let that happen. He then asks, "Your Majesty Alexander, may I inspect the child?" Alexander inquires, "For what reason?" The bishop claims something seems off. There is no way a baby could consume such a large quantity of vegetable juice. Alexander questions him in return, and what is so strange about a saint candidate eating monk food? Isaac, lying peacefully, wonders how he, the former demon king, could possibly be a saint candidate. Yet again, the bishop insists, stating firmly something about this child is undeniably strange. Alexander responds once a representative from House Joshua arrives, only then may you proceed. At that moment, Isaac suddenly burps, and a small whiff of mana escapes his mouth involuntarily. He panics, instantly covering his mouth with both hands, terrified that he's been exposed. The bishop narrows his eyes, a knowing smirk creeping onto his face as he stares at Isaac. He informs Alexander, "I just sense dark mana emanating from the child, a deeply suspicious sign." Isaac stiffens, worried that the bishop may have discovered his true identity. The bishop continues, claiming this child could be a false candidate who merely bears mana, and insists, "I must consult with the inquisitive." Immediately, Isaac closes his eyes with a sense of grim resignation. Alexander, clearly displeased, questions, "How could you speak so cruelly of a precious saint candidate?" The bishop offers an awkward smile and assures Alexander there is no need for concern. The pope has already chosen the child from House Barrett as the next saint. Alexander looks at him, confused and disturbed by the declaration. He silently condemns House Barrett for their shamelessness in selecting a child from their own bloodline. Isaac clenches his tiny teeth in frustration. Now realizing that this is precisely why the bishop is so desperate to eliminate him, the bishop lifts Isaac into his arms and calls for the Inquisitor. But before he can act further, Alexander intervenes, stating firmly, House Joshua is a close ally of the royal court, and as emperor, I strongly recommend that this child continue to be considered. The bishop turns his face, voice suddenly sharp as he reminds Alexander, His Highness has also said the Crown Prince's blessing will take place only after the saint is officially decided. Alexander's expression falters as the implications settle in. If he does not support the candidate chosen by the Pope, the Crown Prince might be denied the ceremonial blessing. He asks the bishop with suspicion, Is this truly the will of the papacy? Isaac watches them, inwardly scoffing. He calls them fools in his thoughts, realizing this situation is rapidly deteriorating. If they uncover who he really is, everything will collapse. Just then, the bishop offers to test the child, immediately using his exorcism powers. He declares that if Isaac is human, he will be unharmed, but if not, he will be expelled instantly. As he prepares, Isaac quickly lifts his feeder bottle and, without warning, strikes the bishop with it forcefully. The bishop groans in pain, blood spilling as a tooth dislodges from the impact. Isaac smirks with malicious delight, then switches instantly into baby-like innocence. Cooing and giggling, he hits him again. The bishop winces once more, stunned by the sheer force of such a small bottle. Onlookers murmur among themselves, watching the strange phenomenon. Some wonder, is the light, the aura, the mana radiating from the child actually divine? Many begin to believe this child must truly be the saint. Meanwhile, Isaac, still pretending to be a harmless baby, thinks to himself that while he can feel divine energy within, the dark power that also resides in him should be fundamentally incompatible. The two forces are polar opposites, yet somehow they coexist. He suspects it must be due to the white man inside him. Isaac attempts to strike the bishop again, but this time the bishop catches the feeder, his eyes burning with fury. He throws the bottle to the floor with a sharp crack and declares with absolute conviction, This child is a heretic. I demand an exorcism be conducted immediately. Isaac stares at him with cold disappointment, mentally branding him as a stubborn fool. Still acting like a baby, Isaac giggles softly, trying to feign innocence, pretending the violence was never his intention. But then he slips his hand into his robe and reaches for a hidden object, a cursed totem, the sealed remnants of a high-ranking demon. It's an item he always kept on him, just in case he were ever hunted by his own kind. It possesses the power to absorb demonic energy from those related by kinship. The bishop stares in horror, unable to fathom how a mere infant could possibly know of such an object. Isaac pulls the totem out slowly, flashing a wicked smile. He tosses it near Alexander, silently thinking that he has given the bishop enough warnings. Since he kept pushing, he will now face something worse. The totem lands with a hollow thud on the marble floor, and at once, dark mana begins to leak from it, pulsing through the room like a growing shadow. A shadow lick appears in the temple. Everyone is shocked. Alexander, the bishop shouts, his voice trembling, You have lost your mind for reviving a demon in the temple. The bishop's words hang in the air as Alexander glares at him. You're wrong, he retorts sharply. The child used a totem. The bishop's eyes widen in disbelief. A totem. Totems bind dead demons. They cannot bring them to life, Alexander declares with authority. Without wasting a moment, he turns to the captains. Protect the child from both the demon and the bishop. One of the captains swiftly picks up the baby in his arms while the others ready their weapons. The bishop stands still, his confusion giving way to aggression. He does not understand what has just happened. Isaac watches him coldly, a smirk playing on his lips. It serves him right. Isaac observes the captains as they attempt to stop the demon with their swords, trying to keep it at bay. The demon roars, Kill the saint, and charges forward with terrifying speed. Isaac's heart skips a beat. He's shocked. The demon had not been part of his plan, not like this. The demon tries to attack Isaac, but the captains intercept, forming a protective barrier around both Isaac and Alexander. Isaac feels a wave of confusion wash over him. He knows deep down that it was his actions that brought the demon to life. So he wonders why it is attacking him. He feels calm and confident because the holy captains are around him. The demon kills the captains one by one. Isaac stares at the captains and wonders if they are truly holy. The demon shouts again, Kill him and save the imprisoned king. It runs toward him again. Isaac thinks he should stop the demon and decides to use his mana, thinking no one will notice it in the chaos. The demon comes closer and Isaac wonders why everything in this life tries to kill him. He looks into the demon's eyes and reminds himself that he saved it, but now it is trying to kill him. He uses his power and calls the demon foolish for attacking him. The demon pauses in confusion. Suddenly, a large amount of holy power bursts from Isaac's body. The demon steps back in fear and escapes. The captains shout, The demon is fleeing. They talk about the holy power and say that Isaac has defeated the High Demon. The captain holding him praises Isaac, saying, "You are amazing at such a young age." Isaac looked at his hands and noticed his divine power fading. He felt confused, wondering how his body could have converted mana into holy energy. He realized that the Holy Empire lacked dark mana, and the thought troubled him, as gathering more of it would be a difficult task. The captains detained the bishop, who shouted in protest, demanding to be released. "Let me go!" The bishop cried out, accusing Isaac of straying from sacred teachings and using impure energy. He asked Alexander to let him prove it by casting a spell. Alexander replied calmly, "That's enough. Don't make accusations against a holy candidate without clear evidence." He continued, "Even if you are from Sanctus, summoning a powerful entity in front of royal captains is not something that can be taken lightly." The bishop began to feel anxious and uneasy. He worried that Alexander might be starting to suspect him. If the truth about the secret operations were to come out, it could put many in Sanctus at risk. In his heart, he resolved to protect his people, whatever the cost. Secretly, the bishop used a spell, conjuring a spectral wolf from magical energy. He hoped that he could still shift the tide of events. The creature lunged toward Isaac. Isaac recognized the bishop's move and thought to himself that the truth had finally surfaced. He calmly prepared to face the attack. Then he remembers he has no mana left. The wolf jumps to attack him. A magic strike hits the wolf and stops it. Isaac looks in shock. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "No one can touch a child of Joshua." Really, Joshua, the seventh son of House Joshua, appears. People recognize the devout Azure and the captains of Joshua. Rael tells his captains, "Arrest the bishop." Isaac hears the name Joshua and feels like he has heard it before. Rael orders, "Everyone, show respect." The captains bow and greet Isaac as the son of House Joshua. Rael apologizes, sorry for being late. Isaac looks at him and feels surprised by his serious attitude. Ree says, "I brought a gift to make up for past mistakes." Isaac thinks it might be gold. One captain opens a box and shows a figure of the skeleton king being beheaded. Isaac looks confused. The captain says, "We also have one of him burned and another crushed." They show all the models to Isaac. He looks at them silently. The captains whisper, "Their young master is so cute." Isaac shed a tear, feeling that life in this strange household was far from easy. The captains assumed he was crying from joy. But deep down, Isaac was thinking about Joshua, considered the most virtuous of his generation, the one who had once come to bring his journey to an end. He recalled a peculiar scene where several people argued, each claiming to be the true Joshua. One declared himself the 45th Saint Joshua. Another said he was the 61st. A third coldly stated that his name was not for people like them to speak. Isaac reflected on how strange it was that they all shared the name Joshua. He began to realize that he might not just be a holy candidate, but also part of a lineage tied to a greater legacy. He wondered what he might have done in a past life to deserve such a complicated fate. Relai looked at the bishop with visible anger and loudly accused him of knowing the truth, that they were not who they claimed to be. He questioned where they had brought the mysterious entity from and warned that he would reveal its true identity. Relai drew his sword, signaling his resolve. The bishop responded coldly, saying that if the lineage of Joshua posed a threat, it should not be allowed to continue. Relai remained calm, held the blade near the bishop's neck, and warned him to be grateful that Joshua had shown restraint despite the bishop's disrespectful words. Isaac watched the scene unfold and thought Relai was remarkably protective. He wondered whether Relai had acted out of loyalty to his family after hearing them insulted. He wonders if Really has the confidence to take on the Holy See. Joshua's people gather around and say they heard something terrible, and that he should only listen and see good things. Isaac thinks these people are crazy, but he remembers that Blue Joshua is very strong. They smile at him. Isaac thinks his subordinates would freak out whenever they saw Blue Joshua. They pull the skeleton's skull and laugh, trying to make him laugh. Next, Ry leaves along with the captain, holding Isaac in his arms. Alexander thinks he owes the baby a debt. Alexander asked Riley to tell the head of his house that the Imperial Palace wants to raise the boy. Ro replies that Alexander's jokes are too much. Isaac wonders if the Imperial Palace is scouting him. Alexander says he knows the Holy Empire will target the boy both inside and outside. He says Joshua is powerful, but he asks if the present Blue Faith has what it takes to protect this child. Rayleigh looks at him with a stern expression while Isaac waits for his answer. Alexander says that the Pope may disapprove of the boy because his hair color symbolizes the ancestors of the Holy Empire. He also mentions that the Skeleton King appears to be targeting him. Isaac awkwardly thinks, if I'm the Skeleton King, why would he be after me? Rael holds Isaac in his arms and says, I'm sorry, but the child belongs to the Joshua bloodline and should be raised by the Joshuas. We can handle both the Pope and the Skeleton King. He adds, if we do meet the Skeleton King, former Saintess Melissa would probably be pleased. Alexander replies, I suppose she would. Rail asks Alexander, how could you consider handing over the direct descendant of Saintess Melissa to the Imperial Palace? Isaac wonders, is this the same Melissa I fought just before entering the Divine Realm? Was she the strong and difficult Saintess I once encountered? He concludes, not only am I a saint candidate in the Saints family, but I'm also Melissa's direct descendant. Why is my life like this? The next scene opens with a question. What exactly is a Saintess? It is narrated that the gods, who lost to the Skeleton King every time, wanted to win so badly that they created a final weapon with all their efforts, a mace sent by the gods to smite evil. The lion of the battlefield, who wields holy light, the greatest light of the Holy Empire, and the highest-ranking knight. Due to the overwhelming power of the saints, people believed the Skeleton King had seen his final days. But the Skeleton King was merciless. Isaac thinks he has never killed a saintess, and it is not good for him. He thinks that if a saint dies and the holy power goes back to the gods, they can just send an upgraded next version of a saint. He thinks the last saintess, Melissa, was very strong, and that Melissa is his ancestor. Relai says, Isaac, the saints live only to destroy the Skeleton King. Joshua produces those saints and carries out the will of the gods. They are a proud family who has the ability to protect this child. Alexander stays silent. Another captain says, Relai is right. He adds that the Skeleton King has martyred many saintesses. Isaac anxiously thinks he did not kill a single one. The captain says, the Skeleton King once banished a saintess to a labyrinth because he thought she was not good enough to fight. Isaac thinks he allowed her to go and wonders if it is his fault she is bad with directions. The captain says 5 of them died of stress-related diseases. Isaac thinks they should have gone to the hospital. Then, as Isaac's face turns red with anger, Real tells him, it's okay. We've heard all the stories, and it does not matter to us if you're cursed. Isaac thinks he is not okay with it. Real raises his hands and says, we're thankful you were born, and we only wish one thing from you, not to grow up to be like the terrible Skeleton King. Isaac looks burned out. The Skeleton King apologizes to him in his mind for being a bad person. Alexander again tells him to consider his request. He says it has been 150 years since the Skeleton King was sealed away. Isaac wonders if it has been that long. He thinks Melissa should have died a long time ago. If this is the case because she was 50 when they last fought, Alexander says the demons have become more powerful meanwhile, and the saint is a great asset for the Holy Empire to increase its power. The boy is important to the Imperial Palace as well. Furthermore, there is no saintess in Joshua currently. Alexander adds, it has been a year since the saintess gave birth to the boy and disappeared with the father. Isaac is shocked in disbelief, hearing his mother was a saint. Really, says Alexander, might be right, but the matriarch still lives, so Joshua can protect the child. Isaac thinks in frustration that he cannot be more surprised than finding out his mother is a saint, so they can get all the surprises out of the way now. Alexander asks, is Dame Melissa not currently out to destroy the Skeleton King's subordinates? Isaac is shocked to hear this. Rel says she will return soon, and the matriarch is expecting her grandson as well. Isaac questions Melissa in his mind, wondering why she is still alive, as she does not feel bad for being 200 years old. Isaac seemed uncomfortable. Alexander mentioned that it might be a long time before she returned. He then asked Isaac if he was all right, noting that he looked a bit unusual. Isaac silently wondered if he could truly remain calm knowing that his greatest enemy might still be alive. The thought unsettled him. He feared that if Melissa found out, things could take a dangerous turn. While others might accept the truth, Melissa was far too unpredictable. Concerned for his own safety, Isaac tried to appear more friendly and close to Alexander, hoping for some reassurance or protection. Alexander turned to Ray and said he thought Isaac wanted to visit the royal palace. Rael responded that perhaps Isaac was simply trying to be endearing. With a gentle hand on Isaac's shoulder, Alexander said that the royal palace could offer many resources for someone like him. He added that while Joshua may have experience in mentoring holy maidens, it had never trained a boy with such a unique role. Real replied that the child would one day become an exorcist knight, a defender against darkness. The Joshua family had produced the greatest exorcist knights in history. Moreover, Isaac was the first of his kind, so even the royal palace had no precedent for guiding someone like him. They argue to keep Isaac, pulling him forcefully. Others tell them to calm down, saying they will rip the young lord in half. Isaac, at the edge of frustration, thinks he wants to go to the Imperial Palace. The light that reacts with the origin of survival has been coming from the Emperor from the start. He looks at Alexander and releases holy light from his body, thinking he cannot miss this opportunity. Alexander smiles and says, you made a wise choice. Isaac himself is shocked to see the bright holy light. The scene shifts to night outside. The bishop says he is certain the child used mana and that he is a child of the Demon King. Joshua House's men stand in front of him. The cardinal says, holy light is given by God. He asks, are you telling me the demon king wields the power of God? As the cardinal pulls his sword, the bishop panics and says, I am certain it was manna. He asks, how could you of all people confuse manna with holy power? The cardinal replies, the sanctified have condemned your statement as blasphemy, and kills him right there. The cardinal says the emperor will try to take the child anyway. There will be many chances inside the imperial household, so they will aim for those moments. He says this time the child cannot survive. Isaac wakes up and sees the sun shining brightly. He thinks he is going to Joshua now, riding in a royal cart surrounded by many knights. 10 days ago, Isaac wondered why the light from Ree's body was so bright. The captain told Rai that Joshua is not a good place to raise a child. Riley told Alexander that Joshua looked like a place filled with the corpses of the demon king and monsters. He said the most valuable thing at Joshua would be the skeleton king's corpse, and he moved his hand toward Isaac. Isaac was shocked, thinking if they meant his body and if they were holding it. He thought he should have said this earlier. Then he grabbed Ree's finger and acted cute, asking him to take him to Joshua. Riley became happy. Now Isaac lies in the cart. He thinks he is being taken away from the imperial household and to the military. He wants to get his body back because he refined his mana in it until it was like the gods. If he can get back, the 10th rank power would be nothing. He also saw the light of the desire to survive shining brightly. This means following Uncle Joshua will help him survive. The captain in the cart asked Ryan why the Pope's forces are after Isaac. Isaac wonders the same and asks himself why they panic. Rel says it is because the gods gave a prophecy that the saint would be taken as the son of a god. The captain says that means Isaac will become the next pope. Rel agrees and says that is why House Barrett was so desperate to bear the saint. Isaac is shocked. The narrator explains that the pope is the strongest cleric. He uses rank 10 holy spells and is like the king of clerics and paladins. His power rivals even the emperor of the Holy Empire. Isaac thinks that House Barrett has birthed the pope for thousands of years. But now that a saint will take the pope's position, it's understandable. They're all up in arms. He also thinks that's why the other houses are trying so hard to birth the saint too. Suddenly, someone rushes in. Ril asks, what's wrong? The man replies that they've arrived at the Dush but encountered a problem. Just then, a demon appears with two others, all disguised as humans. It says they won't be allowed to enter the Dush. Isaac wonders if this is yet another surprise. Rel angrily questions the demon, how dare you? Do you not recognize the insignia of House Joshua? He wonders how these people were educated. The demon grins heavily, revealing a sharp, Dracula-like tooth, and says they won't let them enter. We must eliminate the child who inherited the blood of the saints. They prepare to attack. The knight shouts, these are demons. Isaac is shocked, thinking this is nonsense. He's pretty sure there's a ban on attacking human territories. He wonders if this is the fault of a new demon king. The demon points a finger and calls them fools, saying their glorious king has commanded all saints and saintesses be killed. Isaac thought that a new king had risen. One of the strange creatures added that under the reign of the great lord Isachak, they would seek to eliminate the holy figure. Isaac felt confused, wondering what the creature meant and when such an order had been given. The creature replied that if they handed over the child, King Asak of Bones might spare their lives. Suddenly, Reel cast a magical spell that ignited the creature, stunning the remaining two. With anger, Reel demanded to know how they dared to speak such things in his presence. Joshua, a practitioner of sacred rites, warned that these beings would not fall so easily. Pointing to his sword, he declared that for the safety of all that is pure and innocent in the world, he would not let evil prevail. A blue magical glow enveloped his sword as he vowed to pursue the creatures to the ends of the world if necessary. He stated that the Bone King was sacrificing his followers in a futile attempt to escape his fate. The creatures responded furiously, claiming that Joshua had insulted their king and that everything they did was for the return of Lord Isaac. Ree and the others drew their swords, preparing for battle. The creatures launched themselves at Isaac, and the knight holding him runs swiftly, apologizing. Isaac is frustrated, wondering if this will ever end and who is impersonating him. The knight takes Isaac into the woods and puts him down behind some bushes. He tells him to wait there briefly and that he'll be back soon. The knight creates a magic protection barrier around Isaac. Isaac touches the barrier, thinking even high-ranking demons can't break through it. He smiles, realizing nothing from outside can get in. That means nothing inside can get out either. He thinks now is the moment to activate his survival origin and unleash his magic. Inside his magic world, Isaac believes this is his call to the one who is both magic and living, the observing one. Right then, a demonic creature named Whisper appears, excitedly calling Isaac his lord and trying to hug him. Isaac pushes Whisper away gently, warning him to be quiet or they will be caught. Whisper looks excited, having thought he would never see Isaac again. Isaac thinks about how he himself almost didn't survive. He recalls that Whisper is the sapient detection magic he created because he couldn't keep up with detection spells during fights. Somehow, Whisper gained consciousness, which Isaac finds oddly endearing. Whisper moves around Isaac, noting how his wickedness remains the same, and sarcastically congratulates him for mercilessly stealing an infant's body. He condemns the divine beings who dared to touch the child, no matter how dirty they are, and expresses disgust at the baby's body being treated that way. Isaac grows furious and says, "Stop speaking and focus on finding the enemies." Whisper activates ambi detection and reports 88 demons within a 100-meter radius. He assures Isaac that none of them will lay a finger on him. Isaac wonders if there really are that many and suspects they intend to start a war. He realizes that as security increases here, summoning his subordinates will become nearly impossible. He concludes that he must deal with the threat himself, even if it requires using all the mana he has accumulated so far. As Whisper continues, the enemy count drops rapidly. 51, then 31, then 13. The knights alert Ree to an approaching threat. Whisper directs a defensive formation as the demon forces dwindle to 4. The demon leader urges his comrades to work together to kill the saint today. They shout glory to the skeleton king and start verging into a lick. The Joshua army is shocked. Whisper tells Isaac that there are no forces left. Then he informs him that he has detected a shadow. Lick, a gigantic shadow lick, prepares to fight the Joshua, declaring, "You dare to touch the king with your dirty hands. Now you will pay with your lives." Isaac screams, wondering what is going on with the shadow lick. The narrator recalls that Isaac is the one who freed the shadow lick. All of its twisted affection for him explodes as it shouts, "Don't look at the child with your disgusting eyes, or I'll tear those eyes out." However, humans cannot understand the shadow lick because it speaks a different language. Whisper informs Isaac that the situation outside is a real mess. Isaac thinks the shadow lick has figured out that he is the skeleton king and considers its efforts to follow him commendable. Real commands all the knights to prepare for battle. Isaac wonders what the shadow lick is doing, making a show of itself. He screams in his baby language, warning the knights not to touch his lifeline, his super rich Manor. The knight reassures Isaac to wait a little while and promises to resolve the situation. The shadow lick excitedly feels recognized, thinking its master, its guiding light, has acknowledged it. The knight notices the demon's hostility and informs Riley. As the demon swiftly runs toward Isaac, Riley shouts a warning that the lowlife is heading straight for Isaac. The demon murmurs about how they dare seal the skeleton king in such a place. Isaac excitedly thinks that he has finally caught its eyes and that he cannot watch his Manor get exhausted. He looks at the demon with anticipation. Suddenly, the demon breaks the protective barrier, stating that it has received its order. The knight shouts, "The barrier is diminishing." Real panics and calls Isaac's name loudly, "Isaac." Isaac smiles as the demon takes him in its hands. He tells it, "Stop messing around," in his baby language, then totemizes it into a hand. The demon screams in disbelief, wondering, why did Isaac do that? Everyone is shocked and in disbelief, questioning, did Isaac really totemize the demon? The knight excitedly grabs the totemized demon. Incredible. Isaac succeeded on his first try. He calls it incredible, explaining it's a holy spell only those as powerful as a saintess or a cardinal can use. He raises Isaac in the air as others celebrate alongside him. Isaac thinks this isn't a holy spell, it's simply the use of mana. Real, confused, thinks it must have been a holy spell of totemization, but finds it odd that he cannot sense any holy power from Isaac. The knight holding Isaac still rests. Remarks that true worth is revealed in emergencies. He is sure the shadow lick instinctively felt endangered and rushed to remove the source, and that their young master is just that great. He is certain Isaac is the saint. Rel silently reflects that the knight is not wrong, as even the demon came aiming for the child. Even if Isaac is not a saint, something special is clearly within him. He wonders painfully why it had to be a young boy cursed by the skeleton king. He quickly resolves himself. The knight, as captain of the Order of Blue, announces his commitment to protecting Isaac's future, the future of Joshua. Riley looks at him sternly, but then smiles, thinking he was being foolish and only afraid of the skeleton king's curse. He believes this child will be named Joshua. He takes Isaac in his hands, saying it's time to go home. He promises Isaac's uncle will teach him many things, recognizing his great talents and vowing to raise him into an incredible holy knight. Isaac smiles awkwardly. Thinking he is fine with not becoming one and just wants his body back when they return home, Isaac is shocked as Rai tells him he will save him at any cost, even if he doesn't live long. Rai says Isaac's name will spread far and wide across the continent. Isaac panics internally, thinking Rai just said something alarming. Rai smiles, confident that Isaac will love it. He promises to teach Isaac how to curse the dishonorable skeleton king once they get home. Isaac mentally abuses him. The next scene opens at Joshua Duchy, where the royal carts arrive. Isaac is shocked to see the statues and grand architecture. Thinking the Joshuans fiercely tear apart Dankin but live lavishly, he wonders in disbelief how much it all costs. Calling them bourgeois, he reflects on how he worked ragged trying to feed his own kids. Whisper tells him this place is on an entirely different level from their shabby palace, and that selling a few sculptures could buy 10 Demon King castles. Frustrated, Isaac tells Whisper to shut up. Really pulls Isaac from the basket and explains that this is the Joshua residence where exorcism and monster slaying began on the continent. He shows Isaac through a window where young men are practicing with swords, saying that once Isaac grows older, he will be like them. Isaac watches the young men beating down a clown, calling him Skeleton King and telling him to die, cursing him. Isaac wonders in frustration what they are teaching their children, but calms himself, thinking it doesn't matter as long as he has infiltrated the Holy Empire. He will burn the Emperor alive and turn the place into the Isaac Empire. Whisper asks, why does Isaac hold a grudge over children playing despite being the Skeleton King? Isaac again tells Whisper to shut up and scan their surroundings. He looks at the bright spots on the building, wondering if they are all Manors, happily thinking there are dozens. Whisper comments, it's the first time I've seen so many Manors gathered in one place. I wonder how many Demon they have killed. Their royal card stops. Realization hits. Holding Isaac, Real commands the servants to prepare his room and announces that Isaac will stay with him. The servant informs him that they have orders to guide young Master Isaac to the annex. Rel asks for the reason. The servant replies the fifth young master instructed that Isaac is never to enter the main building. Frustrated, Rel questions, does the fifth young master want to send Isaac to a cursed place where someone met their end? Isaac taunts the family's hypocrisy, saying, I've known this since I rolled around outside dying as an infant. Real mutters, my brother is definitely doing something pointless. Isaac agrees, thinking to himself, I could be living it up in a mansion. Why must I go to the annex? Whispering, Rel informs him the motors are in the annex. Rel orders the servants to back off. I cannot allow my nephew to stay in that ghost-written place. He then takes Isaac to his room, promising, I'll read you the holy scriptures about how the great saints fought the Skeleton King as bedtime stories every night. Isaac, frustrated, thinks this will be like an exorcism for me. Real says once they finish that, he will teach Isaac the exorcism method specifically made for the Skeleton King. Isaac questions internally if Rai wants to kill him. Suddenly, the fifth son of the Joshua family, Gal Joshua, appears questioning why Ray is making a fuss over some homeless child. Insisting he told them to send Isaac to the annex, he smirks and asks if Rai will go against his brother after showing his face for the first time in a while. Isaac is shocked, thinking this man is a thug. Gowell appears to be asking Really to put Isaac down, and he will send him to the annex. Really tells him this makes no sense as Isaac is a descendant of Joshua, and the annex is a place where they exiled people in the past. Isaac figures that Gowell is part of the faction that does not welcome his presence. Gowell steps forward, trying to grab Isaac, when Really tells him to move aside. He will read the story of how the Skeleton King was exorcised to this child in his room. Gowell questions, rely on getting the skeleton of the child. Gowell mocks Rai for calling Isaac his descendant. On the other hand, Isaac likes the idea of them sending him to the annex, but he wonders if Gowell is a member of the clergy or just a delinquent. Isaac relaxes after thinking that if he goes to the annex, he will just suck in his mana core. Rail asks Gowell furiously, do you think I don't know the reason for your wanting to send the child to the annex? Raleigh reveals that he wants people to think the child is cursed because he wants him out of contention. This shocks Isaac, as he wants to suck the household dry to become a saint, and then have the Pope take revenge on the gods. Gowell mocks, telling them that a demon has already come to get the child, and that the child must already be cursed. The captain comes out, defending Isaac, stating that Isaac played a part in banishing the demon. The captain screams, telling them that if a demon went after him, it means Isaac is important and possesses the holy power of a saint. Gowell laughs, telling him he is in tears hearing this. He asks them to show him the actual power. Hours pass. If they are calling him a saint, he muses. And besides, they are putting so much effort into covering this child. Whisper appears beside Isaac, asking him to show whatever he has and summon the meteorite. Gowell points at a barren tree beside them and asks them to tell Isaac to revive the symbol of their household if he has the power. Gowell reminds them that the tree died because of the demon's dark mana, so if Isaac really has the power to be a saint, then he should be able to revive it easily. He really questions him on such nonsense. Isaac thinks that these descendants are a real piece of work. He figures that Melissa's first son is missing and the second one is adopted. Just then, Whisper steps forward. Isaac tries to stop him, but Whisper jumps further. While Whisper moves, Really is busy defending Isaac in front of Gowell. Suddenly, they notice something happening to the tree. Really himself is shocked to find out that the tree is now huge and has come back to life. Gowell cannot believe it. Even with healing and purification magic, the tree had kept dying. But now it has come to life. Isaac feels glad when Whisper tells him that there was a little bit of dark mana near the roots, and Whisper slurked it all up. The captain also comes forward asking Rai about the tree. Really, he says, I have done nothing. They tend to figure out that this was all done by Isaac. Isaac questions, whispering about taking in all the mana. Was I supposed to vomit it all back? Whisper questions. Now on the other side, the captain cheers for Isaac for fixing their tree. Gullible laughs, saying, nobody in this house has been able to do anything. You're insane if you think a mere child did it. He tells everyone someone must have helped the little child, but everyone starts cheering for the little child instead. Gowell accuses Rai of doing this. He grabs him by his robe, screaming, you must have helped the child, and are pretending as if the child did it. Really tells him there is no way he has met the missing saints. While Isaac thinks Melissa should focus on her household instead of vanquishing demons, he figures Gowell does not look like Melissa at all, and Ray does seem like Melissa in disguise. Whisper questions, is Ree the half-brother? Isaac then thinks Ree does look like the Pope. Gowell keeps screaming in Isaac's face, saying, I know you've brought the child as a saint candidate, even though I know you already have a saint candidate. Isaac is shocked. There are more candidates in the house? Gowell wants the other candidate to win. Whisper tells Isaac that he needs to compete with the other person, but Isaac still seems really unbothered. Isaac thinks the person Gowell is supporting must be weak like him. Rail tells Isaac he is our nephew and one of our first brothers. He has the right to lead the house. Gowell laughs, reminding them, your brother ran away when our house was in danger, and now you're letting his child into the family. Isaac figures, this is why they're treating him like the bastard child. Whisper tells Isaac, don't talk about his life like this so nonchalantly. Gowell smirks, figuring the little child is still the son of the saints they brought in from outside, and maybe half-blood. But it is what it is. He asks Rai if they are sure he is their brother's son or not, and says his face looks fine as he takes after the woman. He talks about selling the child, and Rail punches it in the face. Captain is shocked to see that they are fighting in front of Isaac. Isaac thinks that even if his brothers are fighting, he is getting loads of information. Ray keeps punching him, and different people run toward them to stop the fight. Isaac figures it is good that there is such a mess because this way it will be easier to take over. He and Whisper keep smirking. Whisper asks him to think if he won't go down with the house if it falls into ruin. Later, at the Joshua house, Isaac is sitting at the table, thinking that this is annoying. They are all fighting over having another brother, and Isaac thinks that no one in the house is sane. They think the peasant saints should not have birthed another boy. All these talks make Isaac angry, and he thinks they are going too far. Just then, the patriarch's second wife, Hannah Joshua, is sitting in the head chair. She asked everyone to remain silent. She calls Really and tells him that they've decided to raise Isaac in a branch family, away from public attention. She then questions Really about why he allowed the child to be on this land. Isaac senses tension in her voice and begins to suspect that she may have been involved in the effort to send him to the annex. Gowell, visibly upset, demands that Really respond since the acting head of the family is asking a direct question. Ryle suddenly realizes that their father is absent. Hannah explains that their father is currently away, handling a complicated issue related to a candidate for sainthood. Relay then speaks up, it's unfortunate that our father isn't here to hear the news that Isaac, the eldest grandson of this family, has revived the holy tree. Everyone is stunned by this announcement. Gowell rises to defend Isaac, saying it must have been a coincidence, perhaps a result of the prayers offered by the Joshua family. Another one agrees, questioning how a child could accomplish something even their patriarch could not. Hannah agrees and adds that there is no solid evidence proving Isaac was responsible. Another person voices support for Hannah's statement. Isaac raised his hand, wanting to show everyone clear evidence. He channeled a large amount of mana, and everyone was amazed by his ability to gather such energy. Isaac intended for them to witness the divine energy he could harness, and the elders were visibly stunned by the power he had just drawn in. Suddenly, people began murmuring about Isaac's remarkable feat. Some believed he might have removed the corrupted mana that had been affecting the sacred tree. One person in the crowd asked how a child could possibly achieve such a thing. A woman suggested that the most reasonable explanation was that Isaac had somehow transformed the mana into a visible form. Another man remarked that while this method of purification seemed effective, it was highly complex and risky. If done incorrectly, it might have harmed the tree. He noted that there was a reason the church typically used more stable cleansing techniques. Gowell found it hard to believe that they were seriously considering the idea that Isaac had truly accomplished this. Riel stood up and told the others that Isaac may have instinctively manipulated the mana without even realizing it. Isaac knew then that his plan had worked, especially when Riel openly declared that a child had succeeded in doing something no one within the church's central sanctum had managed in the past 70 years. Goel smacks the table with his fist, asking if the elders believe this nonsense. He screams at them, questioning if they think an infant can be exorcised and warning that they will become a laughingstock once the world hears about this. He gestures toward the child, demanding that everyone look at him. He doesn't even look like someone from the Joshua bloodline, he exclaims. Riley stands up, addressing the elders. Isaac will be the saint, he declares. He could even become the next pope. Isaac feels a surge of pride hearing such words about himself. Rai lifts him into the air, cheering. Isaac will even slay the skeleton king. Everyone, including Isaac, is shocked to hear this. Hannah, however, thinks that Rai is only digging his own grave. She speaks up. If he's this confident, then we should test the child. She requests the use of the divine relic storage. Meanwhile, in the northwestern regions of the Holy Helen Empire within the Dark Forest, a monster is slashed by his sword. The patriarch who had struck the blow sheaths his sword. He looks around, revealing that this place is also a mess. A servant comes from behind, greeting the patriarch. Upon being asked, the servant explains that his proxy has requested to use the divine relic storage. The patriarch replies that the sancta seeds are not allowed to access it. The servant responds, it is not the sanctids who are asking. He continues, my grandson has revived the holy tree, and the proxy wishes to see if he has the qualities of a saint. The patriarch turns to the servant in shock, questioning him further about the situation. He asks, a saint is in my household. El Joshua answers, I do not permit it, as only a saintess can survive entering that place. I ask that you avoid unnecessary conflicts. As Eli tells the servant to proceed, another woman arrives. She asks, are you talking about Isaac is receiving the holy tree that impressive? She introduces herself, I am Joshua Matriarch and former saintess Melissa Joshua. She adds, if you are opening the storage, then you should put all the saints and saint candidates in there. The servant is shocked. Saying that a child of another household might take something good from the storage, Melissa hopes that someone steals something. Even the best saints of forward generations could not take anything out of the storage. She adds that perhaps if someone is able to take out a specific item, they will be able to track down the skeleton king and kill him. Melissa decides that they should gather everyone and offer a reward for finding the specific item. She asks the servant to announce to everyone that the child who brings out the best treasure from the storage will be given a reward that even the Pope cannot procure. She tells them that they will receive the generational heirloom of the Joshua household, and she herself will teach them the secret technique of the household. Excitedly, she informs them that she will give them everything. The divine relic storage is where a secret technique from thousands of years ago, as well as divine relics, are kept. A saint has always guarded the storage, and the Joshuas are said to be the owners of the storage because only children under the age of 10 can enter. The storage was used as a kind of ritual for the saints' candidates. When they turned one, they went in and chose something. People predicted what kind of powers the saints would have based on the item the child brought back. However, the storage was so dangerous that even saints' candidates risked their lives by going there. After several deaths, the storage was sealed. Whisper tells Isaac that it is looking forward to whether he will make it out alive or not. Isaac asks the reason for narrating. Whisper asks, isn't it exciting? Isaac excitedly replies that he is looking forward to it. He laughs in an evil manner, whispering that the body of the skeleton king is said to be in there. Just then, Rai takes him up, asking if he is excited. He tells Isaac that the matriarch has opened up the store for all the candidates. Isaac is shocked that it is open to all candidates. He tells Isaac that all children of the 5 renowned households will be there, including the Pope household, but he is sure Isaac will win. Whisper figures that they are making a big deal out of this. Isaac thought it was a good thing that more people were around. It would serve as a great distraction and give him a better chance to return to his original form. Breaking back, Rai said, warning to be cautious. There are special creatures brought back from the battlefield, guarding the inside. This caught Isaac off guard. He figured the presence of such guardians meant the area must be highly secure. Still, he assumed the creatures were likely no stronger than level 6, and that he could manage with his superior abilities. However, Rai clarified that the creatures were level 7, not easy to deal with. Isaac was taken aback by this revelation. Suddenly, a captain entered and told Riley that the level 9 dragon might be the most dangerous of them all. Riley agreed that, based on ranking alone, that was certainly true, which only added to Isaac's growing concern. Whisper silently thought that the Joshua family must be incredibly bold to keep a dragon so close to where children would be arriving. Then Whisper turned to Isaac, taking a deep breath, recalling that Isaac knew a great deal about dragons, but something had clearly unsettled him. Who thinks that dragons are dangerous in a different sense? Isaac says that he has scammed the guys a bunch of times. Whisper is shocked that he has scammed the dragons. He recalls when he scammed them and figures he has scammed almost 70 of them. The thing that worries Isaac is that they might recognize his soul as they have good memories. Whisper tells him that this is a good time for him to switch masters. Isaac gets angry at Whisper and figures he has no other choice as he can barely deal with 6th-ranked demons. There are 80-ranked demons and a 9th-ranked dragon in the relic storage. He figures that in order to fight them off, he needs to rob the Joshua household of all their Manors. Now he decides to go to the annex. At the Joshua estate, Isaac is outside, holding a book with Whisper beside him. Whisper asks if he is all right because he looks as if he is about to be exorcised. Reading the book, Isaac wishes to know how to manipulate holy power as he can learn all the spells in the book. He decides to get a rundown on everything by mind controlling and forcing him to teach. Whisper reminds him that he would be using dark magic within the center of the clergy and asks, "Are you trying to drive this house into the ground, being framed as a demon?" Isaac asks Whisper about the change in its personality over the last 150 years. He whispers that he cannot understand everything with theory alone. Just then, Rel picks him up, telling him, "You seem tired after such an eventful day." Isaac thinks children his age should be sleeping 16 hours, and they are putting him in a competition. Rai puts Isaac in the crib while the captain grabs the book Isaac was reading. Rai uses his regenerate spell on Isaac, and Isaac gets excited that a spell is being used. Isaac tries to come out of the crib, attempting to convince Rai to use an attack spell, while Whisper tells him to stay still. Whisper reminds him that he needs to go to the annex, so he cannot keep people here, and Isaac understands. Isaac decides he needs to get rid of everyone here and quickly tries to pretend he is asleep. Whisper thinks nobody is going to fall for such lame acting. While the captain smiles, realizing that Isaac fell asleep so fast, Real thinks he is an amazing child, as he is quick at everything. Whisper thinks they are all insane for believing this. Isaac keeps pretending to sleep when he hears them talking about keeping the totem, as it is dangerous. Isaac is shocked that they are taking it, and Rel orders them to keep it safe since it is Isaac's first totem. Isaac needed it to resurrect, but they have taken it. Isaac cries, lying down, thinking they have taken it away. When the door closes, Isaac quickly gets up, thinking now he will have to dry the manticore that is in the annex. He crawls out of the crib, and Whisper asks if he will crawl his way to the annex. Isaac says that he has a plan and only wants Whisper to open the door. Whisper tells him that he cannot carry him all the way to the annex. He tries to open the door but tells Isaac that the door is locked, the locking mechanism is outside, and there is even a holy spell on the door. Isaac gets annoyed and whispers, asking him to break the door. Whisper tells that by breaking, they will think he is under attack and flock over here. Isaac goes to the door and starts banging, thinking he cannot hold on to Whisper all the way here. If he uses magic, things will get complicated. Just when he is trying to think of a plan, Kai walks in the door and is shocked to see Isaac on the floor. The kid is the son of Gowel Joshua and Shuri Joshua and is 5 years old. Isaac turns to look at the kid, figuring out if he is his rival. She is angry that the little child made a totem that even he could not make. He starts to use a spell and tells Isaac that he will be the saint. He asks Isaac if he dares to take what is rightfully his. Isaac figures this is his moment to escape and grabs an object from magic, hitting Shuri with it. Isaac believes he has found his ride. Shuri gets furious that Isaac hit him. Isaac grabs his object back, thinking he must be Go's son as he looks like him. He first uses magic to attack him. Isaac uses his magic and starts beating Shuri. Whisper tells Isaac his shots are great, and Isaac wants Shuri to accept that he will be his ride. Isaac keeps beating him until she stands up furiously, using his magic to block Isaac's attack. Isaac acts surprised. She asks, "Are you surprised to see me using the 3rd-ranked defensive magic?" She prepares another spell and says it's too soon to be surprised before casting the 3rd-rank holy attack magic, Radiant Holiness. He throws his attack at Isaac. Isaac thinks this is actually impressive. Isaac smirks and thanks him for the magic, then creates his own magic from it. Isaac conjures a huge defensive spell, which freaks she out. Isaac wonders how he used this, as Ree did not teach him this. Isaac then creates his magic to attack Shuri. Shuri screams. Isaac laughs at him and continues the attack with his magic. Whisper asks, "Is it all right for me to kill someone from Joshua's family?" Isaac responds, "Do you think I'm killing him?" The attack didn't even hit him. She is lying on the ground, and the floor beside him is completely shattered. He screams at Isaac for not hitting him, accusing him of scaring him. As she continues yelling at Isaac, Demon Kin appears and demands to know why she dares to speak to Isaac this way. Demon Kin asks if she wishes to die. She kneels on the ground, tears streaming down his face. Isaac approaches the Demon King and tries to calm him down. Then he turns to She and asks him to carry him. She walks, lost in thought. He believes he is Shuri Joshua and that he will become a saint in the future. He plans to escape the Joshua house and rise to become the Pope. But right now, Isaac is making things difficult for him. As she walks around the estate with Isaac on his back, he questions Isaac about the situation. The Demonkin warns She to move before he tears him to shreds. She tears up but continues walking, determined to push through. Isaac, too, is focused on making it out alive. Outside the palace, Isaac gives She directions. She seems utterly exhausted, but Isaac tells him to get his act together. She, still struggling, questions Isaac about the place he is being asked to go. As he came to a stop, Isaac saw the second annex of the Joshua estate appear before him. Shuri cried out, calling it a strange and unsettling place. He couldn't believe Isaac had brought him to a location rumored to be the site of unexplained events, a place the clan leader had strictly warned others not to enter. Isaac and Whisper exchanged knowing smiles. They were aware that the building held many secrets. It was protected by a dense layer of mana, and Whisper told Isaac that it would take decades of training to gather such an amount. Isaac told Shuri to go inside, but Shuri hesitated. "We shouldn't be here," he said. "The elders warned us." Just then, a mysterious figure appeared, startling Shuri. After catching his breath, Shuri carried Isaac through the entrance. Isaac looked around and thought that the inside was even more foreboding than he had imagined. One particular door immediately caught his attention. Whisper explained that the entire building had been sealed and every door was protected by magical barriers. Isaac let out a sigh of disappointment and Shuri suggested they should turn back, as it seemed everything was locked tight. Isaac playfully tugged on Shuri's hair, causing him to shout in protest. She screams, asking Isaac to let him go. Just then, Isaac's eyes land on portraits of past patriarchs. Shuri asks, "Do you want to go after the patriarchal position now?" He then tells Isaac, "You will be the next patriarch." Isaac grabs the object he brought with him and breaks the patriarch's portrait. Shuri screams for his ancestor, asking Isaac, "Do you know what you are doing?" Isaac wants to know why someone is placing barriers on the portraits as well. Whisper announces that the barrier has been broken. Isaac jumps onto the floor and starts crawling. She keeps questioning him. "Why are you going after making such a mess?" Isaac enters the door that was sealed before and whispers, "Lock the door." Shuri tries to question him, but Isaac tells him, "A kid like you doesn't need to know," and closes the door. Then he channels the magic, beginning what he came here to do. Shuri bangs on the door, shouting for Isaac to come out, threatening, "I will tell the adults everything," while she is banging on the door. All the adults appeared behind him. Riley called out to Shuri, asking why he was there. Shuri tried to explain that Isaac was inside, but a woman raised her voice, asking if he knew that the annex was off limits and whether he had brought Isaac there. Shuri didn't understand why everyone seemed to be blaming him for everything. The woman continued, saying that several people had seen him carrying Isaac on his back into the building and that traces of sacred magic had been detected in Isaac's room. She then asked directly if he was responsible for what had happened. Isaac tried to speak up in his own defense, but couldn't find the words. Riley stepped forward and said that Shuri may have gone too far this time. Regardless of the reason, he had caused trouble for a child who was still very young. Remaining calm, Riley asked if Shuri had locked Isaac in the room. Tears welled up in Shuri's eyes as he said he didn't find Isaac. The boy had entered on his own. Riley walked to the door looking slightly concerned and gently knocked. "Isaac, are you in there? Did you lock the door?" Riley opened the door and found Isaac inside. Crying beside the door, he picks up Isaac, saying Isaac looks terrified of being there alone. Rail thanks God that Isaac is safe, although nothing has happened to him, but he is scared. Rail walks out, telling She he should be ashamed of himself. Shuri tries to defend himself, but no one listens to him. Isaac grins at She for letting him have his meal. Shuri screams at Isaac, and his blood pressure shoots up, even though he is just a kid. Isaac checks his mana, figuring out there was more in there than he expected. He has obtained as much mana as he would have gotten with 100 red years of training in one go. He smirks, thinking that with this mana, he can now finally use his plan. Later, Isaac is sitting in his room when Rail comes with a girl to introduce her to Isaac. He tells her she is Silly and will be working as his assistant. Silly introduces herself as the Holy Knight of the Joshua household. Silly kneels in front of Isaac, assuring she will serve him until he dies. Isaac calls the incident with Shuri. Thinking if they are assigning someone because of that, Isaac starts to behave rudely with Silly, so she goes out of the sight. Rail and Silly look at Isaac, blabbing in shock. Then she moves forward, asking if she can just pinch his cheeks one time. Isaac thinks there are just so many lunatics in his household. Then Rail presents Isaac with a ring, telling him it was a gift from him. Isaac looks at the ring, thinking it looks like it is from a dumpster. Whisper says it thought it heard wrong, but it seems the Joshua household truly is in a financial crisis as they are gifting such a ring on his first birthday. Ailey, shockingly, recognizes it to be the saint's heirloom. Isaac feels shocked while Rill tells him that he got it from the council specially for him. Isaac figures this is the ring the saints used in the battle against him. It is the Elder Ring, a small ring which contains a small miracle of God. Isaac figures the holy power stored in the ring is incredible. He smirks, thinking that it seems like he can only use it once or twice before it breaks. So he needs a way to fix this. Then he finds angry Goel outside his room, leaning beside a tree, and figures the ring must be real. Just then, Goel comes inside, calling him his cute nephew. He wishes that Isaac finds this place comfortable. Isaac is shocked to see this behavior from his side and thinks he has gone mad. Things are getting complicated. Goel broke the blessing device in the relic storage, so Isaac could not get the blessing, but he did not know they would give him the heirloom instead. He recalls the woman telling Riley that since Isaac cannot receive a blessing, it is only fair that they give the heirloom to him. Goel asked him to lend the heirloom to Shuri instead. The woman asked if he has not already received a blessing from the Sancticides and asks Goel not to be greedy. Goel grits his teeth, thinking he is about to take it away while pretending to donate it to the Sancticides. There is no way Isaac could fathom the true value of the heirloom. Goel asked Ree if he was going to give Isaac a present. He should have picked a good one, and this one seems useless. Rill questioned him on why he thought the Saint test belongings were useless. Goel responded, saying Isaac was his nephew and he could not give him something useless. He then brought out another ring, telling Isaac that this ring was imbued with many blessings directly from Sancticides. This should be more helpful to Isaac in the relic storage, he explained, as it is a very precious item that could never be obtained. Riley kept staring at Goel in confusion, while Isaac tried to grab the ring from his hand. When Goel asked him for the other ring, Isaac hit him in the face. Grabbing the ring, Isaac noticed the foul stench of the Pope lingering on it. He quickly threw it away. Goel screamed as the ring flew from Isaac's hand. Riley looked at Isaac suspiciously as the other ring had seemed 1,000 times more precious than the one Goel had given him, yet Isaac chose his. Goel, in a fury, once again addressed Isaac, telling him he would only give him the best from now on. Riley and Asili began to cheer for Isaac. On the other side, Goel screamed at his servants to find the other ring. Isaac has cast a weight magic on it, so they won't be able to find it. Whisper tells Isaac that his determination to never even lay a finger on such a foul object is truly admirable. But Isaac asked Whisper to pick the ring up at dawn. Whisper is not happy that he has asked him for this. Isaac has asked him to do so because that ring is going to be worth a fortune, and they need to sell it. In his room, Goel smashes his table at Isaac for throwing such an expensive ring. Then he pushes the thoughts away, saying that he won't be able to use the Elder Ring properly, so this doesn't matter. He says the ring is a fitting gift for someone who cannot even use the holy spells. He adds that Isaac would need to absorb at least 20 people's worth of holy power to use it, and that will be impossible. He smirks, wondering if there will even be 10 people coming to his first birthday. The next day, there are many people gathered outside. Ailey and Rai look at the crowd from the window. Ailey figures it is good that there are over 38 candidates. Including the nobles and servants, there are about 4,000 people who have gathered now. Ailey says it seems that all of the ducal families have come, as well as dozens of marquee families. She adds that it is amazing that even different countries sent their saint candidates. Isaac is shocked to see so many candidates and thinks the gods were just lazy, sprinkling everyone here. Whisper thinks they are the type to do something like this. Rael says he did not expect this, as he thought no one would come, thinking of it as a trap. Just then, Count Simon-Age barges in and saying that no one thought of it as a trap. He is the head of the 3 merchant unions of the Empire and Reilly's best friend. Ree is shocked to see Simon there. Simon explains that the rumor has spread far and wide throughout the Empire, so he must attend. He assures everyone that it is not a trap and decides to stay. He adds that the weakling boys of the Joshua household are all attending as well, laughing. Simon laughs, saying there was no point in not coming when the head of the Joshua household has put everything on the line. Simon informs that even the Pope's family is coming, but Isaac is busy thinking about whether Rai has put something on the line. Ree becomes furious and asks, Simon, don't be ridiculous. There's no way the Pope's family would attend. Simon shrugs, saying there's no way those unfriendly royal fellows would show up in the Joshua territory. They could test this place for having so many commoners, except for the Barrett family. Someone appears outside the room when Riley asks Simon to lower his voice. Simon responds, my son, Eman, is a candidate as well, so I won't lower my voice. He adds the event was hosted by Joshua's family, so the Pope's family has no reason to get involved in this. Rai asks Simon to be mindful of what he says. While someone opens the door, both Simon and Riley are shocked at the sight they see. Bishop Barrett enters, saying there's an old saying, nothing is as dangerous as a vulgar friend. Riley and Simon are freaked out to find Barrett there. Bishop Barrett continues to think that the weak man of the Joshua household would host an event like this must mean that his infant will bring something from the relic storage to save his family's face. Barrett tells that he was curious to see Joshua's child, who claims to be a saint candidate, but he cannot even see him. Asselin tightens her grip on Isaac. Barrett smirks, saying that this is definitely an opportunity for them. He expresses his sincerest prayer that the saint candidate could raise the name of their family. Ryle feels uncomfortable. If this was all planned by the Sancticides, he thinks then the fact that the number of saint candidates has gone from 25 to 148 in just the last week is strange. He figures the only explanation is that the Sanctons are turning a blind eye to the fact that saint candidates are popping out of nowhere. This means everyone will try to make their child a saint candidate. Once such children are put into the storage, they will inevitably attempt to push out the weakest competitors. He clenches his fist, knowing they can even cause harm there. He turns to look at Isaac, figuring that Isaac might be in danger. The story continues with a man talking about the Joshua family boys. He says that other than their exceptional looks and their family's reputations, they are useless. But to those who want to possess the superior Joshua DNA, and to those who seek the favor of the papal house, which despises the house of the saintess, they should know that a boy from Joshua is tantalizing prey. A person wearing a cloak hands a little boy a bottle and asks him to play with the boy. He tells the boy not to let him die, but is unable to do anything. The man asks the child to mix the drug into the water and use a holy potion. He wants to show Joshua's child the old reality of this world. The sole purpose is to make him a laughingstock in front of everyone and to show the world that he can never be a saint. The children bring the drug water to Isaac, and he drinks several bottles of it. The children are shocked that he has drunk so much and are now scared. Isaac smirks, knowing they cannot kill him with this much poison. He hits the boy with a bottle. The boy who got hit starts crying, asking to be allowed to go home, while the other children try to calm him down. The children are shocked. He should have had diarrhea by now. Or maybe they've used the wrong bottles. The guy who got hit asked the others to just go, as he does not feel so good. Isaac kept drinking water until the kid snatched the bottle from him, asking if he possessed it, as he was not getting affected by it. The kid gives him another bottle, but Isaac throws it at the guy's face. Isaac started to hit and scream at the boys. A girl comes, telling them that her bottle has holy poison, while the other one stops her from doing so. Isaac hears about the holy poison and jumps at the girl to drink it. The other kids are shocked that Isaac is even drinking the holy poison. So maybe he is in a state where he is filtering out the poison naturally. The other kids start to question if Isaac is drinking the poison to save the others. A kid was sitting beside the wall when another one came at him, asking if Isaac was sacrificing himself for the others. The kid is shocked to find Keena Barrett there. He is shocked, as he did not know the papal house would be participating. He is the direct grandson of the papal house, Keena Barrett. Everyone begins discussing Keena Barrett and questioning his role in the Saints' treasury. Most believe Ken Barrett is going to win, while Isaac keeps sipping water. Isaac looks at him and suspects that Keneb has been internally chosen as a saint candidate. He wonders about Keneb's natural hair color, since most popes have always had dark brown hair. Keena smirks and tells everyone it's not strange for Keneb to take part in the treasury. He explains that the pope is the leader of the clergy, so the saint's treasury, Yuri, rightfully belongs to the papal house. He laughs lightly and says he's only here to reclaim what already belongs to them. Isaac senses from his tone that he's affiliated with the papal house. When Isaac notices Keneb's divine power, he realizes the man is no ordinary figure. His power has already surpassed that of a bishop. While Isaac is still thinking, Keena speaks up. Is everyone trying to make the host look bad? He says the others are being unfair, that pressuring a child won't lead to anything. Then he walks over to Isaac and says, this little one still hasn't learned to control his resistance to toxins, and it must be the power of the saints protecting him. Isaac thinks stupidity runs in his family. Keena, bringing out his magic, tells Isaac he will heal him. He starts healing Isaac, and Isaac figures that his holy power of healing magic seems to be of rank 5. Isaac assumes Keena is doing this only to show off his power. He knows it is clever of Keena, but he punches him in the face. Just then, the holy power disappears, and everyone is shocked to see this. Ken cannot believe that Isaac disturbed his holy power. Keena looks at his hands, wondering if the child is more powerful than he is. He glances at Isaac and feels furious. Isaac looks at him in return, thinking Keena should not look at him like that. Isaac tries to smack Keena in the head with the bottle, but she stops him. No one understands why Isaac would hit someone who was trying to help him. Another kid hits she and asked if he stopped because Keena is his family. The kid then asked if Isaac thinks he can stand up to the papal house. She tells the others that if he had not stopped, all of them would have been hit by the bottle on their heads. Keena tells the kids to stop, as Isaac only threw a bottle because he is a baby. Kina walks away, bidding everyone luck and asking them to save the toys for their family. He looks back, telling them in the end that the greatest treasury will only be his. He adds that Joshua will never get close to the body of the Skeleton King. She feels angry at Kina for coming in like that. While they both look at Ken, leaving the place, she points at Kina and thinks he is an annoying guy. Just then, Isaac grabs She for stopping him. Isaac wants to ask him about the skeleton's actions while Shuri grabs him, asking the reason for drinking so much poison. She says the matriarch said that the one who brings the Skeleton King's body will get a special technique. Isaac is shocked to hear this and curses Melissa under his breath. He thinks of the Skeleton King and questions the games they are all playing with his body. All the kids are gathered here and there. While She and Isaac are sitting in a corner, Isaac thinks he spent hundreds of years cultivating mana in his old body. Now, reaching rank 10 would be child's play, only if he gets his hands on it. But what worries him is how he would sneak out in his actual body with all the kids around him. Then he thinks that knocking anyone who comes in his way might be a good idea. A woman appears and asks everyone to gather around as they will be departing soon. She tells them that the treasury is a holy place and starts talking about the previous saint test. Isaac asked himself if she will be talking about history right now. Before he can wait for her lesson to end, he begins crawling to start on his own. Shuri tries to stop him, but a huge explosion occurs. Everyone's attention is drawn to Isaac. Isaac uses his swift steps magic and starts running swiftly. The elder tries to stop Isaac, telling him the area he is heading to is off limits. She warns him that if he goes that way, traps will activate throughout the treasury. All the children began running to try to stop Isaac. At the Joshua family ballroom, Really and Asili stood anxiously, concerned about Isaac's actions. A man stood on the staircase, using a magical link to observe the interior of the treasure vault. He said, "I'll report directly to the monitoring team. They're currently tracking a candidate in 3rd place." He then announced that the door to the first chamber had opened and the participants had started entering. This struck Raya as slightly suspicious. The man continued, "Imanus is in 3rd place, right?" Upon hearing this, Simon cheered for his son. The announcer said Shuri is in 2nd place, and Gawa felt a deep sense of pride for his child. The announcer expressed surprise upon seeing that Isaac Joshua was in 1st place. Really and Asili were also surprised by the announcement. Inside the vault, an elder was also trying to catch up with Isaac. However, he hesitated to proceed further, knowing that doing so might trigger additional protective traps. As he rushed forward, the elder unintentionally revealed a strange burst of energy that caught others' attention. Some of the children became frightened and scattered. Among them was Kina, who tried to stop Isaac and urged him not to act recklessly. He tries to tell Isaac that the trials of the treasury are hard enough already, and they should avoid the anti-intruder traps. Isaac stops at the gate to the 2nd chapter, and the 2nd layer of traps has been activated. Whisper appears and tells Isaac he has done a good job, thanks to the Manor he absorbed in the annex. It also says that it has gone up a rank. Isaac sends Whisper to grab the kids. The kids are sitting tired and figure that this is the reason saints are so strong, because it is difficult. Whisper grabs Shuri up into the air, and the kids notice that he is the one from Joshua. They try to guess his name and are shocked that he is flying. They think his house must have told him earlier to fly, and it is unfair to them all. Whisper has grabbed him in the air, and She tries to tell everyone that he is flying against his will. Then, Whisper throws him on the ground in the 2nd chamber, telling Isaac that he has secured his informant. She gets angry at Isaac and tells him that he made it past the 1st chamber somehow. But starting from the 2nd chamber, he will die if he isn't careful. Shuri says that the 2nd chamber was designed to teach saints how to overcome fear and choose the right path. Isaac attacks Shuri with his magic, thinking he was being too noisy. He says, "I don't need your blabbering, just tell me the details." Shuri grunts and replies, "When you enter the 2nd chamber, you must not attack the enemies, no matter what." Isaac thinks this is nonsense. "I shouldn't attack my enemies," he mutters to himself. Shuri continues, "You should only wait for all the enemies to disappear. This is the only way to get past the 2nd chamber." He asks Isaac, "Do you understand?" Isaac believes this must be a test of patience. He starts to crawl while Shuri explains, "People have died in this chamber." Isaac thinks waiting for 3 minutes is nothing. "I can easily avoid attacking my enemies." Isaac touches the chamber gate and welcomes him to the Chamber of Tranquility. A voice then speaks. "Patience is a virtue and a cold rationale." Isaac is asked to stay patient, and his patience shall guide him to the light. On the other side, Hima is walking with some other kids. One of them asks if they will be okay, as they are in the last place. Kina replies, "There's no need for us to endure the danger first. We can let them beat shields stand in front." He reminds them, a rank 8th demon guards the entrance to the 2nd chamber, and I bet the guys who ran ahead are all stumped at the entrance. He asked everyone to look at where the glow was coming from. The trial has already begun. The gate opens and Shuri says, Isaac, don't let yourself be shaken. A lady appears on the other side, telling Isaac, your patience will guide you to the light. She was about to speak more, but Isaac quickly punches the woman. She screams, Isaac, you're dumb. Why punch the woman instead of waiting? Isaac thinks, I cannot wait when they are showing such an ugly face. Whisper tells him, hold out for more than 3 seconds. The voice then declares, Isaac has failed, and those who cannot be patient shall face the wrath of divine punishment. With that, a huge demon appears in front of them. Shuri cries, thinking they will be dead now. But Isaac channels some red mana and attacks the demon with his mana. The demon screams loudly. Shuri is shocked to see Isaac's power. The demon is dead in no time, and Shuri cannot understand the deal with Isaac. As Isaac destroyed the golem, he couldn't believe this was rank 8th. He realizes this golem was made by his subordinate. He recalls a member of the 14 elite demons, the strongest of the subordinates he had trained as the Skeleton King. He realizes the innate magic belongs to one of them. He cannot guess if the golem is working under Joshua's house or if it has something to do with his boy's presence here. He crawls more, thinking he needs to find out more about this. She asks, will Isaac go forward in this direction? Another kid comes from behind, telling them he did not know the Joshua boys would be of this much help. The guy with red hair comes with other kids, telling them he knew the Joshua boys would do something. He is Negel Sephet, Red Faith of the 5 Great Fates, and the 3rd son of the ducal house Sapit. Nigel thanks Isaac for being the gatekeeper for them and asked him to get out of the way to the 2nd chamber. The kids start to talk about how they suffered because of Isaac, and they think he must have planned to enter first and place traps for the others. Isaac looks back, thinking there are still so many survivors. Nigel points at She, telling him he never knew Joshua's house could be this cowardly. Nigel accuses She of being in cahoots with Isaac, which shocks She. She tells them he was not in cahoots with Isaac, but they ignore him and turn toward Isaac. Kneeling in front of Isaac, Nigel asks the other guys if they also saw how Isaac avoided all the traps, which seems impossible. Nigel looks at the ring around Isaac's neck and says it must be an artifact. Everything must be happening because of it. He snatches it from Isaac and shows his partners. Now he will be able to avoid all the traps with the ring. In this whole situation, Shai is shocked that Isaac is so calm. She knows that Isaac would never let someone steal something from him without fighting back. Nigel starts to walk away, telling the other kids that now they do not need the Joshuas. Moving forward, he says they will bring the Skeleton King's corpse, which even the saints could not bring back. He tells everyone it belongs to the house secretary and he will bring it back. Just when he moves forward, a huge fire breaks out. Nigel starts screaming, telling everyone it was a trap. She figures that Isaac baited them all on purpose. Later, when all of them have been taken down by the fire, she walks into the 2nd chamber with Isaac on his back. Isaac figures all the mines and similar traps in the 2nd chamber have been set off, but there are some more kids following him, which annoys Isaac again. One of the kids tells the others that Isaac has some divine kind of energy and thinks that Nigel was dumb for thinking the ring was an antique piece. Whisper grins, telling Isaac that the kids have learned of his magnificence. Isaac figures he does not need their reverence. Sherry wishes he could tell the kids to run away and that the monster atop his head is more terrifying than any demon. A guy comes forward, confessing that they believe if there is a saint among them, it must be Isaac. He greets Isaac saying, I am Paris Julius, the 2nd prince of the Julius kingdom. Isaac hears whispers from the guys around him. Julius is the kingdom to the east of Hela, and their prince received a divine blessing. Isaac figures that Paris could be a useful ally. Just then, she tells Isaac they have reached the 3rd gate. A voice welcomes the candidates. This is the 3rd chamber, called Rumination, the voice announces. Some angel-like figures appear in front of the children, telling them to demonstrate their courage and resolve. The kids behind them think it's good that they are following Isaac instead of Megil. The angelic figure commands the kids, defeat us and claim your honor. The other kids think they need to be like the angelic figures, and this would be it. But Isaac looks at the figures keenly and recognizes them, thinking this will be fun. Isaac stops the other kids, and Shuri also figures that Isaac is right, that the gatekeeper is lying. Shai recalls how Isaac ran from the 1st chamber and then did not hold back even in the 2nd chamber. She figures that in this 3rd chamber, rumination is just a hint and he needs to remember the scenes from the first 2 chambers. After recalling, he figures they must not attack the figures. Isaac asked everyone to go to the other side, and she asks, is Isaac actually helping them? She thinks that despite being a devil, he must have Joshua's blood in him, which is the blood of the House of Saintses. Shuri thinks he might have misjudged Isaac this whole time. While Shuri is thinking good thoughts about Isaac, Isaac channels his energy and attacks the figures in front of them. Shuri could not believe he had just done this. Just then, the figure comes in front with a spear in its hand, announcing, they have failed. The figure starts to attack the kids, and the kids begin running here and there, asking someone to save them. The kids have been caught in a fire, and she suspects Isaac has done this on purpose. When he looks at Isaac's face, he realizes Isaac did it intentionally. The creatures start attacking, saying it was so easy for the candidates to trust their words. Isaac's figures are the puppets made from the magic of the 14 elite demands called the lying dolls. Isaac becomes happy as the other kids get beaten by the dolls lying around on the ground. As the attack happens, Isaac uses rank 6 holy art called invisibility. The other kids are shocked when they cannot see Isaac or Shuri. One of them sends the others to find them. Shuri is amazed at how Isaac used the blessing given to them by Riley at such a good time. On the other hand, Nigel also thanks Isaac for giving him invisibility as well. Then Isaac tosses the ring toward Nigel. Nigel is shocked and asks, are you giving me this because you are not used to fighting against demons? He checks the ring and thanks Isaac, telling him he won't ever forget this. He says he would tell the king about this as well, but something attacks Nigel, and just like the others, he is no longer. At first, Isaac is surprised, then laughs at how he has the most holy power. She, on the other hand, is shocked by how evil Isaac is. Next, one of the kids tells the others to gather in one place, whoever can use holy defense art. One of the kids says he would use the first, and the kid in black asks him to get behind him. The lying doll comes at the kids, telling them to accept their permission. The kid in black gives the other kid the head to attack the lying doll. Before the kid can attack, his magic disappears, and he collapses on the ground. The kid in black looks back in confusion and shock. He does not notice the ring beside her, which attacks him, and he collapses on the ground as well. The lying doll itself is shocked to see what's happening. As they collapse, the lying doll travels to the other side to find the others. Whisper tells Isaac that they have absorbed the holy power of everyone on this side. On command, Whisper gets ready to move to the other side to absorb others' power. Isaac notices some more kids getting attacked by the lying doll. Before they can be attacked, Isaac absorbs their power as well. Isaac thinks it is better to knock them down by absorbing their holy power instead of being attacked by the lying doll. Whisper announces to Isaac that he is almost done, but suddenly, a huge fireball-like portal appears. From the fireball emerges a creature that pushes Whisper away. From the portal, Hina appears and calls out to Isaac. Isaac figures he was just wondering about his whereabouts, but even he is shocked to see the power Kina holds around him. Kina even summons a holy spirit, which is usually impossible at this age. Kina says he was surprised that there was another person who could take a demon down, that he asked if Isaac led the other kids into a trap, like he did in the first chamber. Before Kina could present more assumptions, 2 kids appeared in the back. They defend Isaac by saying that Isaac protected them while trying to do the trial for them. The children tell everyone that Isaac saved them. Isaac privately thinks they might be a little confused and Whisper suspects they're experiencing a form of emotional attachment due to stress. Kina turns to the others and asks, aren't you embarrassed to call yourselves saint candidates? The other kids yell at Kina to stay quiet. You didn't do anything for us, they shout. You were always behind us. You came here without helping and we'll tell the adults when we get out. They all declare that they'll encourage everyone to follow the boys from Joshua's house. Shuri is eager to tell others that this small child possesses an overwhelming, almost intimidating power. As the children are speaking, the ground shakes from an earthquake. A massive fireball shoots into the sky. The children wonder if that's the entrance to the 3rd trial chamber. A voice congratulates them for completing the challenge and introduces himself as the final gatekeeper of the treasury. A gatekeeper tells them they must now choose. Take the current treasure and complete the test, or face a new trial to access the 3rd chamber. One child shouts that they choose the trial, and the gatekeeper advises them to choose wisely. The voice again asks them the same question. It tells them that if they pass the trial, they will discover the treasure of the 3rd chamber. However, if they don't pass the trial, they will die. All the kids are shocked to hear this. Whisper tells it that she can feel the guardian mana from the voice. Isaac whispers that he knows it is a dragon and figures it must be true that failure will lead to death. One of the kids says, I would still choose to go to the 3rd chamber. Getting here was too hard to give up. Most of the kids decide they would go to the 3rd chamber. The gatekeeper understands that the kids are choosing to risk death to face this trial and prepares the trial for them. He announces whoever is here is gathered to become a saint will now face a trial. With that, a huge explosion occurs and all the kids feel the terror while Isaac keeps laughing. The gatekeeper tells them that the trial will be simple and asks them to worship God. In front of them, a huge statue appears. The kids do not understand that once again, a statue has appeared. And it is specifically a statue of a cardinal this time. The gatekeeper tells them to show respect to the god, and only those who have shown their piety in front of the statue can go into the 3rd chamber. The kids figure they need to kneel and pray in front of the statue, which does not seem too hard to them. Isaac grunts, thinking they want him to kneel in front of the guy who messed with him for hundreds of years. The kid in black moves forward, praising the statue. He kneels, saying that the god is worthy of all glory and honor. As he worships, the gatekeeper tells him he has learned well and allows him to pass. The others figure that now they too only have to worship to pass. Just then, Isaac jumps on the floor. Shuri tells him he should also pray, but Isaac refuses. He kicks Shuri and he collapses on the ground. Kina moves forward, praying to the statue. Kina asks others to observe him and worship the statue in this manner. The other kids start to move forward to worship as well. Shuri is shocked to see them. Aha. While the gatekeeper asks once more if they are all truly giving up, the statue silently observes them in reverence. He turns to Isaac and asks if he will not kneel before him. Isaac responds calmly that he is not irrational and would indeed kneel. The children around him are surprised and question whether Isaac is having doubts about his beliefs. Some begin to wonder if the Joshua family has been losing its spiritual connection over time. Kina grows concerned, realizing that everything may be recorded and that Isaac's position could be at risk due to his actions. Kina starts to feel at ease, thinking that Isaac's lack of devotion may cause his downfall. The gatekeeper proclaims that the descendant of the saints is showing disrespect. At that, Isaac firmly declares that he would rather face the consequences than bow in false reverence. With growing intensity, he challenges the gatekeeper to do as he wishes. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble. The gatekeeper warns that those who show disrespect will face judgment. Isaac collapses, exhausted, and tells the gatekeeper to do as he must. Summoning his strength, Isaac prepares to confront the statue with all of his power. Whisper tells Isaac that this is dangerous. Isaac does not listen, channels his power, and attacks the statue. The gatekeeper thinks this is outstanding. Isaac feels shocked. The gatekeeper announces that he is passed and can move to the third chamber. Kina screams, reminding him that Isaac has not shown any respect and those who won't shall die. The gatekeeper says that the only one here who has the right to go into the third chamber is Isaac, as he is the only one who showed great faith in God. He adds that others knelt in front of a statue and not God. He asks, does your faith tell you to bow down to idols? Shuri and the other kids figure out that this is a trick. They realize the statue was the same as their god in the portraits, but they were not supposed to bow down. The gatekeeper tells them to look at Isaac, who did not lose faith. He announces that only Isaac can move to the next chamber. Kina furiously screams that this is unacceptable. She moves forward, saying that there is no way to tell if the baby refused to kneel because of his faith. As he cannot even speak, Whisper smirks, saying even though Kina is speaking out of anger, he is right. Kina questions, does Isaac have such good faith, but still does not have a stigmata? Everyone is shocked that Isaac does not have a stigmata. Kina smirks and looks at everyone, knowing he is the only one without one. A saint without a stigmata is not possible. The gatekeeper himself is shocked that a saint candidate is here without a stigmata. But then he tells everyone that this is because Isaac is just a baby. Everyone else is shocked to hear such remarks from the gatekeeper. Kina screams, this does not make sense. He is shocked that the statue could move this whole time. The gatekeeper again says that babies do not need to have the stigmata yet. Kina screams, if Isaac can go, then I should go too. The gatekeeper tells them that they should know a stigmata does not appear just because one is great. He asks, do you all feel the same way? Do you all want to enter the chamber? All the kids say they want to go inside. The gatekeeper tells everyone that they can all go to the third chamber. Shuri is not sure if this is true, or if the gatekeeper would let anyone in so easily. The gatekeeper says, if you really wish to fly into the flame like moths, then I will let you. With that, he opens the chamber, and dark energy pours out. But everyone starts to choke on the dark energy. The voice asks, do you feel the demonic energy coming from the body of the skeleton king? He continues, you do not know your place. I was going to spare the weaklings who cannot understand this energy. As everyone chokes on the demonic energy, only Isaac stands, smirking at it. Isaac figures he has found what he was looking for. The skeleton king's body is his own. Isaac starts to feel excited. This is his body, and he never thought he would see it again after he self-destructed the realm. He begins to arrive, seeing what appears to be Mama coming out. All the children look at Isaac as the gatekeeper tells them, Isaac is the child who proved his faith, and he has the face of a courageous warrior, but all the kids think that Isaac has lost his mind for acting like this. The fire again appears with a great demonic energy, and the gatekeeper tells them that if one is not a warrior who can smile in the face of death like Isaac, then they should leave. The gatekeeper says that if one turns their back now, he will allow them to pick up their treasure from the second chamber. The kids cannot believe they have to break through this demonic energy. Some of them decide they should go back and choose the best item in the second chamber. Kina steps forward, saying he does not need treasure from the second chamber, and that they will advance to the third chamber. Kina asks the gatekeeper to activate all the traps in the third chamber. Everyone thinks Kina is being crazy. The gatekeeper asked if he truly wishes for all the traps to be activated. Kina replies that no past saint or saints was able to bring back the skeleton of the king's corpse, and even Saint Melissa could not manage it. The gatekeeper asked if he knows anything about the third chamber. Kina believed that Saintess Tess Melissa would never allow children to be put in danger, and assumed that this must be a precaution she had prepared to protect them. He told the gatekeeper that he didn't want others to think he had taken an easy way out. He then requested the third trial room to be reset to standard hard mode, so they could overcome the Saintess's challenge. Isaac thought that Kina seemed a little eccentric. The gatekeeper replied that if Kina was truly serious, he would listen. He added that identifying the true saint among the candidates would not be too difficult. Some of the other children began crying, asking Kina if he should go through the challenge alone instead of pulling everyone else into it. They kept protesting and clung to him. Suddenly, they were all transported into the third trial room. Inside, a skeletal hand lay at the center of the floor. Isaac looked around and felt the place resembled a strange and mysterious realm. When his eyes landed on a skeleton in the middle of the room, Whisper suggested he observe its unique form. Isaac felt intrigued as he studied the figure more closely. Isaac believed that the body had likely been slowly absorbing energy while in the third trial room. One of the children asked, "Is that the remains of the Bone King?" Another child was surprised to sense such a strange energy radiating from just a single hand. Isaac smirked, thinking the mysterious energy they were sensing actually came only from his own thumb, and he suspected that the rest of the body in the room was merely a replica. While everyone was still focused on the skeletal hand, a massive dragon-like creature suddenly appeared. The children screamed in panic at the sight of the beast. A voice echoed, reminding them that they themselves had requested the safety measures in the third trial room be removed. Isaac tried to identify the source of the voice. Suddenly, the creature roared loudly, adding to the children's fear. A child dressed in black began blaming Kina for everything. Kina tried to reassure him, asking for his trust and promising that he would ensure everyone made it out safely with the treasure. Kina recalled that one of the 14 elite guardians, once loyal to the Bone King, had been captured by the Papal Guard. He also remembered that he had previously studied and prepared a sacred spell specifically in case something like this occurred, and decided that the treasure would be his. He moved forward and asked the demon to kneel. The demon growled as the light of the paper house appeared. Kina got excited, realizing his art had worked. Now he just needed the Skeleton King. Just then, the demon asked him, "Is this you?" Kina was shocked. The demon repeated, "Are you the one who covers your king's body?" Meanwhile, Riley and the others stood at the entrance to the treasury trying to figure out what was happening inside as they had also lost contact. The host announced the demon in the third chamber has been unsealed. Riley and Simon were terrified. Simon asked, "Does the third chamber hold the 14 elite demons?" Riley didn't answer immediately. He thought about the elite demons and realized that everyone inside was in danger. The others started asking about the elders in the monitoring chambers. One of them mentioned the elders went to turn off the traps that had been activated, but they've been missing ever since. The remaining elders were worried. They feared the children were in danger and concluded that there was no way the children could stop the demon. And so they had to stop the ritual immediately. At that very moment, a brilliant light burst from the treasure, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. Riley looked into it, wondering if this radiant glow meant the treasure was finally being revealed. One man tried to warn the others that it could be an unfamiliar form of energy, but an elder stopped him, saying he sensed no danger from it. Someone asked whether the threat had truly been defeated. Barrett smirked, thinking that Kina was probably the one responsible. Everyone was astonished by the idea that one of the children could have overcome such a formidable force. Simon also believed it was likely Kina, given her sacred heritage. Realized bit her lip and stayed silent, visibly uneasy. People began to congratulate Barrett, who acknowledged that Kina had worked hard to reach this moment. Barrett gave a small smile, thinking of Joshua, someone he once believed had questioned the Pope's authority. Now that the danger had passed, he thought Joshua might reconsider his stance. Quietly, he felt a sense of pride in what they had accomplished. Then cheers erupted as the children finally returned. Riley quietly prays for Isaac and Shuri's safety. Everyone begins to gather. As more children come out, Riley feels relieved to see that most of them are safe and without serious injuries. Others are talking about how the last group of kids from the chamber still hasn't come out. Riley grows more anxious about the children he's responsible for. Just then, someone shouts that the final group is emerging. Even and Shuri are among them. All of the children appear exhausted. Simon and Gawel rush forward to embrace their children, asking if they are all right. But Riley looks around and becomes increasingly concerned. Isaac is still not among them. He sees others reuniting with their children, but Isaac is nowhere to be found. Barrett calls out to Kina and asks what he is holding. Barrett questions whether it could be the remains of the Skeleton King. He scolds Kina for bringing something unclear or unnecessary out of the chamber. Just then, a large spear of light appears, stunning everyone. Suddenly, a wolf forms from the light, gently carrying Isaac in its mouth. Riley and the others gasp to see Isaac in the wolf's grasp. The wolf gently set him down and Riley rushed forward to embrace him. Ailey stepped forward and asked, "Is the wolf the young holy dragon guarding the treasury?" Riley confirmed that despite its current wolf form, the creature was indeed the appointed dragon guardian of the treasury. Its energy signature unmistakably marked it as a dragon. He also suspected that the matriarch shared a special bond with it and had invited it to the treasury. As they moved forward, unexpected sounds came from up ahead. They discovered Isaac was making the noise, and to their shock, he was holding something in his mouth. Upon closer inspection, they realized Isaac was holding part of the Skeleton King's remains. The elders were stunned by the act, while others cheered in relief that the sacred relic had been retrieved. Barrett angrily questioned Kina. Did he give that relic to Isaac? He stated that while it might not have been an ideal plan, preserving the family's honor was a virtue a true saint candidate should uphold. Riley listened quietly from a distance. Suddenly, the wolf spoke. It clarified that Isaac, not Kina, was the one who brought back part of the Skeleton King's remains. Kina began to cry, realizing that the truth had been revealed. He remembered attempting a golden holy technique that failed. Then, a malevolent entity had attacked the children, causing a massive explosion. Thankfully, a protective barrier had already been in place above them. When everyone opened their eyes afterward, they were astonished by the barrier's presence. They noted its luminous blue glow, clearly indicating that Isaac was the one who had created it. The demon curses again and moves forward to attack. However, Isaac is angry because the demon cannot even recognize his master. So, he punches the demon. The story jumps to the present, where everyone figures out that the wolf won't lie. This means Isaac is the one bringing the body back. Rai is confused and shocked, still insisting that this is too dangerous, but Isaac manages to do it. Real asked about the breaking of the seal, since the 14 elite demons of the Skeleton King are too much for the children. Wolf talks about the 14 elite demons and says that Kina asked him to break the seal. All the kids confirm that Kina was the one who asked to activate all the traps in the chamber. Everyone agrees that Kina is the reason they are about to die. They all figure that this means Isaac must have beaten Kina. Hearing this, Barrett's blood starts to boil. Everyone starts to cheer for Joshua's house, thinking they are actually considering rebuilding. Brilliantly, Isaac has truly done amazing work. All the elders run to Isaac, asked him to spit the bone as it was dangerous. Isaac pushed all of them away. They were shocked to see how strong Isaac was. At the same time, Isaac had begun absorbing all the mana in his surroundings. The elder says Isaac has outdone himself. The matriarch will be overjoyed. The elder smirked. Now we can finally track down the Skeleton King and find his soul using tracking arts. Isaac was shocked. So this is why they wanted his body so badly. All the elders were still asking him to give the bone back. They wanted to use the tracking arts and rip apart the Skeleton King. Isaac thought they were all crazy. One of the elders said, "Give it to us so we can settle the 150-year-old grudge." But instead, Isaac gulped the bone. The elders screamed in horror as they saw him swallow it. The wolf started to travel back, thinking everyone there was crazy and wishing never to see them again. Later, at the Joshua residence, the elders examined Isaac's excreted material. They were looking for the Skeleton King's body, but could not find it. Isaac knows that even if they search all day, they won't find it. Regardless, Isaac is more worried about whatever happened inside the treasury. Isaac recalls when he punched the demon because he could not recall his master. The demon had questioned him, asking, "Are you the master?" Isaac responds, "I thought this world would end when I heard the news that my master had passed away, but I knew he would return." The demon decides he must serve his master now, but starts to disappear. Isaac wishes the demon stayed longer. He had so many questions to ask. Isaac thinks about what they said. It was the papal house that captured them. He decides he should look more into it. Just then, Riley comes asking Isaac, "Will you drink more milk and poop?" Riley orders his servants to bring more laxatives. Isaac smirks, thinking that one day he will destroy the family. An elder arrives, warning, if the matriarch finds out about this, we might all be executed. She might even open Isaac's stomach. Riley asks the elder to calm down, but then she starts worrying that the matriarch has already cut her son's flank before and she can do the same to her grandchild as well. Whisper asks Isaac, does Melissa go on a pilgrimage with the patriarch? Isaac figures it will probably be a while longer before the pilgrimage ends. He just needs to finish absorbing the mana and escape before she gets back. But then the door opens and Gowel asks for Ree to come with him. Gowel says the matriarch is calling for Riley. Riley is shocked, screaming, "My mother has already arrived. She has never returned this early before." Isaac thinks furiously, is this because of me? He checks his mana core and figures he still has to absorb more mana. Isaac feels terrified. Melissa can definitely open his stomach. Later, everyone is looking at the treasure brought into the residence. Real asks, are these all for Isaac? Has the matriarch not returned? Gowell smirks and says, she has not. We just received a voice message from her. Mark, Sheikah's on her way back. Isaac curses the guy who is giving them the wrong news to tease them. The captain appears, informing them that the papal house has sent a tribute as well. One of the elders says, we should sell the goods from the papal house to someone who has stolen goods. The captain tells them, do not say such things. The messenger from the papal house is listening. The messenger speaks, the emperor is showing a lot of interest in this incident. He has come with a tribute for House Joshua from the papal house, as an apology and a sign of gratitude. He smiles, adding, it seems like our tribute does not mean much to you. Then he opens the box, saying, I think after seeing the tribute, your minds will change. Everyone is shocked when a great light emerges from the box. Inside is the Triple Crown. Isaac doesn't know anything about it and whispers, it's a medal with the Pope's emblem engraved. No one can believe that Isaac has received the medal from the Pope. The messenger asked Rai to accept it, saying, it's a gift for Isaac. Isaac, on the other hand, wants them to hand it directly to him instead of relying on anyone else. Rai asks if the Pope actually wanted him to receive it instead of Isaac. The messenger again tells him that he was ordered to hand it to Riley, no matter what. Riley is shocked and terrified. The elder asks, is the messenger in his right mind giving Isaac's medal to a family member? The elder continues, does he not know the meaning of this? He reminds them that it means the recipient of the medal is deceased. Isaac and Whisper are shocked to hear this. The messenger asks them not to misunderstand his intentions. He says, I simply wish to hand it to a family member since Isaac is so young. The elder screams, your intentions do not explain the ribbon. He reminds him, the sunflower is given to fallen soldiers to honor their heroic deeds. The other elder gets furious at a blatant mockery. Dowell tries to calm the elders down, asking them not to speak so recklessly. Dowell tells the elder, you are a representative of the Joshua house. You must not antagonize the papal house. This must not escalate. Goel thinks he never knew it was possible to make them know their place by giving them such a hateful gift. He knows this must be Cardinal's handiwork. Even when he is from his maternal family, he is still disgusted. But now he knows Rai won't be able to run like before. This is good for him. Dowell asks, Rai, accept the gift and show your gratitude. Really does not want to accept it, but Goel does not listen. Isaac figures this won't do, so he uses his magic to attack the medal. The medal rises into the air and a flame starts to arise. Everyone is shocked to see the holy flame appearing. The messenger is stunned and questions, whoever did this? When everyone turns, they can see Isaac doing it, and a flame appears on his hand as well. The messenger starts to scream, asking, do you know what you're doing to the medal bestowed by the Pope? Is this a rebellion against the Pope? The elders start screaming, saying, we can do anything. It was just a baby's doing. Relai appears, grabs the medal, and tells him to consider that they'd never received the medal, and an accident occurred before he came here. The messenger asked in shock, am I supposed to do whatever Rai tells me to? Rai shows him the medal, asking, should I be receiving the medal that has been melted by a mere infant? All the elders are shocked to see that the medal actually melted. The messenger asked Riley to give him the medal, saying he must have brought the wrong item. Just when the messenger is asking back for the medal, it starts to light up in the holy fire. The elders laugh, calling Isaac a prankster. The messenger feels exhausted and runs out in a few minutes. The elders cheer for Isaac, telling him this is like cleaning up years of built-up frustration. Another elder asks Gowell to throw the medal right away. The elder laughs, telling the matriarch she should have seen the face of the Pope's messenger. They praise Rai for using the holy fire, but Rai is shocked. Another elder comes to and whispers to Riley, asking, were you the one who passed the art of the holy flame on to Isaac? Roll scratches his face, asking if the elders were the ones who did it. The elders are all shocked and tell him that Rai is the one who has been doing this all. Riley opens up, saying that he only cast the invisible holy art. The elder reminds them that Isaac did use the swift step 1-2. Then they understand that all the holy arts were cast by Isaac. Next, the Book of Secret Techniques is a mythical great treasure that allows one to immediately learn a secret technique and use it. It was the book Isaac used to learn everything and figure out his skills. The book is weaker than when he was the Skeleton King, but it is still usable. The elders are still questioning if it is Isaac's mother who has been casting the holy spells. Another elder clarifies that Isaac's mother had the fire attribute, while Isaac has the completely opposite one. An elder says that this is in a whole different realm from mere talent, and it is like writing a poem without learning to read. The elder continues, saying that even Streep Alyssa, who was praised as a genius, had to learn the letters at least before using the holy arts. Just then, a silly voice calls everyone, asking if removing the Pope's blessing is also surprising or not. Once again, all the elders felt glad that it had happened. An elder asked them to bring the metal as he wanted to test it. Really agreed, but then was shocked and informed them that the metal was not here. The elder started screaming, and Gowel told them that he had thrown the metal away. Everyone looked shockingly at Gowel, and he said, "They were the ones who told me to throw it away." The elder told him that he still couldn't throw it just like that and ordered the others to try and find and retrieve it. Gowel couldn't stop thinking that Isaac had melted the metal given by the Pope, which was supposedly capable of resisting any flame. Gowel thought he needed to refrain from reaching the matriarch and hid the metal in his pocket. He smirked, thinking no one would find the metal, and that this would all just become a rumor. A few days later, in the western part of the Joshua Duchy, the patriarch and Melissa were still on their pilgrimage. The matriarch asked the students to focus on the mansion, which is near. They need to focus till the end. But something in the water catches the patriarch's eye, and he is now focused on the other side. On the other side, at the residency, besides giving several laxatives, the elders are not able to retrieve the skeleton king's body. The elders are crying, saying that they have already used 300 bottles, but nothing is happening. They have even given Isaac 500 sylvan fruits. Isaac burps, thinking the fruit is fantastic. He has also heard that it can increase the affinity with divine beasts. He smirks, thinking that divine beasts serve as tools or partners for battles, and they could be mandatory for him to crush the Pope and the gods. He wonders if Joshua has some divine beast in their household. Just then, a dolphin appears. It is Terran Bloom, the house of Joshua's divine beast. Isaac hears someone talking about going to the banquet first, and then he sees the patriarch entering. Everyone bows in front of the patriarch, and Isaac figures this might be his grandfather. The survival origin shines on the patriarch, and Isaac figures this might be a good sign. Really comes forward, asking the patriarch to give them some time, as cutting Isaac open will be good. But Isaac already has a feeling that the patriarch won't cut his stomach open. To his surprise, the patriarch orders to burn Isaac. Isaac and Rioli are both horrified by this order. Isaac thinks that his survival instinct is broken and that this household is crazy. The only person he can trust here is, he's too little to put on fire. Someone defends Isaac. Isaac cannot believe they are considering his age in this. Rill asks his father to rethink his decision, while Gowel insists the reward is too excessive for Isaac. Isaac can't believe that bringing him here is considered a reward. But then, he hears them saying that it's possible to take out the skeleton king's body if they burn Isaac. He might even grow stronger with the fire's blessing. Really asked his father for more time, while Gowel still proposes cutting Isaac's stomach. He suggests that they try to drown Isaac in water instead. Isaac thinks this whole household is crazy, and he should ruin it as soon as possible. Gowel says the temple's fire and water are both Joshua's secret techniques, particularly used for raising the saints. He adds, it cannot be used for an infant with no ability. Riley gets furious and asks, do you still think Isaac has no ability? Isaac thinks this is probably good considering how adamant Gowel is against him. Gowel says Shuri is more befitting for his blessing. It was Shuri who defeated the demon inside the treasury. Ray reminds Gowel Isaac was the one who was defeated, and it was all testified by the holy dragon. Gowel says the dragon must have been mistaken. A baby who cannot even walk cannot beat the demon. Rai asks Gowel, don't be so unreasonable. You're going too far. He reminds him, Isaac burned the Pope's metal like casting the holy flame. Would you deny that as well? Gowel says, I do not believe that. Ri could have colluded with the elders and might have cast the flame. Gowel tries to remind them there is no evidence of it, but the patriarch cuts them off, showing them the metal. Are you talking about this? He asks. The only person connected to God is the Pope, he adds, and the gold that bears the Pope's blessing. Was the metal being presented to you? Isaac is shocked. It wasn't easy to melt when he was the skeleton, but now it happened within seconds. Something seems suspicious. Isaac wonders to himself if he's stronger in his reincarnated body. Ri and the others are stunned to see it in the patriarch's hands. The patriarch tells them that he picked it up on the way when he was at the bottom of a Laza lake. Riel then tells his father that Isaac is skilled enough with fire to the point where he managed to burn the Pope's family symbol. Isaac smirks. This could prove Joshua has the upper hand against the Pope's family. The elders are talking now, saying Isaac can withstand the skeleton king's flame as well. While Isaac smirks, he mutters that their people have suffered huge losses recently because of the skeleton king who has been hiding. The elder agrees, adding that the skeleton king's era will soon be revived if they do not do anything about it. Whisper tells Isaac, I think someone is impersonating you. Isaac thinks for a moment. It's not like I'm concerned about the person impersonating me. But this doesn't matter. Whisper continues, it'll make it easier for you to move. Isaac nods in agreement, but Rai suddenly screams, it all happened 70 years ago. The skeleton king appeared in Joshua's mansion and cast his curse. Isaac is shocked by this revelation. furiously adds, "The Skeleton King attacked us, claiming he would eradicate the saint's bloodline. It's infuriating to think about that curse." Whisper speaks again. "If it were 70 years ago, there's no way it would have been you who did it." Isaac starts to figure things out. "The Skeleton King intended to put a curse on us," he says, "and that's why they think we won't live long." But Isaac smirks, thinking to himself, "Some demon curses are just child's play for me. I can work while suppressing it with mana," Isaac thinks confidently. However, the elder speaks up. "Even if the Skeleton King doesn't kill you, the decrease in reproductive ability could leave you impotent or stop growing in height." Isaac gets furious at the impersonator and wants to kill them all. Whisper mocks Joshua's hair loss problems, saying this might be just a genetic issue. The patriarch says if Isaac's eyes are red, they must be because of the curse. He tells everyone fire and water are too weak. Isaac thinks the patriarch is giving even more bad feelings, but the patriarch says, "I would grant Isaac the Holy Spirit." Everyone is shocked, including Isaac. The Holy Spirit is the divine faction spirit that can only be obtained through bestowal. Isaac thinks he needs it to reach the transcendental rank, a level even the gods cannot easily reach. Isaac feels a sudden jolt. Once he gets the Holy Spirit, he believes he will reach the transcendental rank and beat up all the gods. Gowel tells his father that the Holy Spirit is too much for Isaac. The Holy Spirit has only been bestowed upon those who have brought honor to their house, he says. By breaking the medal, Isaac has only provoked the Pope's family, and they won't stay quiet about this. Isaac is tired of Goel being the bad one. The patriarch calls Gowel, asking about his actions when the medal was sent as a mockery. Gowel could not answer. The patriarch reminds Gowel that they dared to pick a fight with them within their territory, and Gowel was letting them go without defending himself. The patriarch asked if he has done anything else, despite criticizing his own nephew. And now, he's trying to take away his childhood as well. The patriarch says that even the animals protect the abbeys on their axe, and Joshua is the family that protects the smallest things. He says the smallest one was supposed to protect their pride instead. Isaac smirks, hearing all this about him, while Gowel collapses on the ground. The patriarch orders everyone to gather in the main building. He informs them that they will be blessing Isaac here. A few days later, Rel asks about the spirit his father is giving to Isaac. The patriarch asks if Rai does not understand and tells him that Isaac will end up with a disability if they put him in fire or water and take out the Skeleton King's body. He says the temple's fire and water completely reject anything demonic because they are way too powerful. He adds that Isaac won't be able to learn the holy arts of exorcism if that happens. Reliable, able to rise above the 5th rank as the high priest. The patriarch clarifies that Isaac will stay at the 4th rank his entire life. The patriarch says he will let Isaac choose between fire, water, and the Holy Spirit, and this will be his test. Goel gets happy to know that Isaac won't be given the Spirit so easily. The arch puts 3 of those in front of Isaac and asks him to choose one. Riley thinks about everything and wishes for Isaac to choose the white bead. Isaac tries to go for red and prays for him to choose white, but to everyone's surprise, Isaac chooses a red bead. As he chooses, Goel tells Riley not to be too disappointed, and says that 4th rank is enough when it comes to a boy for Joshua to bring honor to the house. To their shock, the red bead broke and flames began to rise everywhere. The elders stood stunned, gazing at the temple flames. From those flames emerged the Holy Spirit. All the elders scattered here and there were in disbelief. Gowel turned to his father. How could the Holy Spirit be inside the red bead? He asked, his voice filled with confusion. His father responded, "Don't make such a fuss. I never said there was only one Holy Spirit among us." Fury bubbled inside Gowel as he processed the incident. The patriarch spoke calmly, water as Joshua's foundation. Yet Isaac melted the Pope's gold with fire, which is why he set the trap in the last trial. But Isaac chose the correct answer. The patriarch himself appeared surprised by the turn of events. Suddenly, the Holy Spirit's voice rang out, screaming the patriarch's name. "You must have completely lost," she exclaimed. "Do you dare summon me, King, the human realm?" Fury overtook her, and she began attacking relentlessly. As the elders scrambled to cast a holy spell, Gowdal turned to his father, his face filled with worry. "Are you planning to incinerate our domain by calling on the king?" he asked, his voice tight with fear. Eli Joshua says he did not summon the king. He points at Isaac, telling him he summoned the king. He looks at Isaac and thinks he might really end up dying here now. Isaac himself is worried that he used a bit of holy power to summon a medium rank, but somehow a royal popped up. Whisper also questions Isaac on doing so. Isaac thinks that if he had actually put effort in, something even bigger might have come. The king appears with anti-demonic flames around him. Whisper tells Isaac that this will be very good for him. As the flames keep eating everyone there, the problem is that Isaac needs to make the king submit to him. Whisper tells Isaac to do it properly. Isaac says that the royal rank spirits are connected to the heavens and he cannot get too close to that god just yet. People are screaming, asking the patriarch to send the royal ranks back as soon as possible. And it is a crazy spirit. The patriarch thinks that if he got flack for the color of his hair, he would cut ties with the gods too, but he does not know the reason for this spirit being ostracized. The spirit asks everyone to be silent. The spirit comes to the patriarch, asking the reason for his summoning in a subordinate ritual. The patriarch tells him that he was not the one who summoned him. The spirit responds, "This does not make sense. You must have summoned me with your authority." The patriarch points at Isaac, saying, "He summoned you." The spirit is, at first, shocked. Then fury takes over as he tells the patriarch, "You must be out of your mind for sacrificing a child to summon me." Eli Joshua quickly retorts, "I did not do such a thing." He points at the child, asking, "What did the patriarch do to him?" Even though the house is falling apart, Isaac continues laughing and drooling. The spirit thinks to himself that Isaac has gone crazy. Isaac, however, believes he has definitely snagged this spirit and plans to use it as a filter for his mana. The spirit declares, "I will see for myself." He prepares to attack the child. If he survives, then this means he truly summoned me. With that, the spirit attacks Isaac. The patriarch rushes toward Isaac, his face full of worry. The spirit believes he will be a peaceful ending here. But to his shock, Isaac survived the attack. "Eli, are you convinced that Isaac summoned them?" Eli asked. "Either contract with the child or refuse and receive your punishment," Eli continued. The spirit responded, "Do you think I can be punished at this rank? As I'm already here," the spirit added, "I'll burn down Joshua's house and relish my freedom. Watch as your residence burns." The spirit taunted Eli. As Isaac saw the spirit, he took it into his mouth. All the elders ran, shouting, "Isaac, don't swallow this time." The spirit couldn't believe it. "He keeps swallowing things," it muttered. Deciding to retreat, the spirit said, "I'll come back." Isaac figured the spirit was about to use its teleportation skill, but to his surprise, he couldn't use his own. While inside Isaac's mouth, the spirit sensed dark mana and the screams of its sins. Eli deduced, Isaac swallowed the thumb of the skeleton king. That's why there's dark mana. Isaac laughed. Holy spirits are the purest beings in the entire holy faction, he thought. They are practically highly energetic personifications and are weak to dark mana. The spirit has started to lose its strength and is about to give up. He screams, asking everyone to stop Isaac, but Eli covers his ears, not wanting to hear his voice. They tell the Skeleton King's powers are too strong for them to approach. The spirit tells them they are all crazy for acting normally in the name of the Skeleton King. Eli says if the spirit stays with the grandchild and purifies all of the Skeleton King's dark mana, then I'll send him back. The spirit thinks they are taking him too lightly. Eli tells him, if you won't cooperate, then you can stay and get eaten. He says, I hate everyone. If you weren't the bloodline of the Saintess, I would have cut ties already. The spirit decides to use Isaac to take everyone down. Isaac keeps trying to swallow his spirit more and more. The spirit begs everyone to leave him with Isaac for 4 days. 4 days would be enough for this child, he says. Eli thinks this is underwhelming. He orders everyone to open the castle gates and take Isaac and the spirit out. He asks not to allow anyone to enter until the purification is complete. Galwell and Rioli are shocked and try to question, but Eli tells them not to say anything. Isaac brings the spirit out of his mouth and grabs it with his hand. He figures the eastern castle is right next to the annex, which is where the Manors are. He feels happy. The servants outside assume that Isaac is the cause, which is essentially due to the Skeleton King and his mana. One of them asks the others if they also think that the next in line will probably be Galwell, of the Pope's bloodline or his brother. Another one says Isaac has been cursed and is no longer in contention. Someone else asks if Isaac is truly cursed. He tells them that since yesterday, 4 servants who went in ran out terrified. They say the servants have told them Isaac has the form of a balding old man. The girl between them tells them that Isaac has already been there with the Holy Spirit for 10 years at the Joshua Manor. In the east wing, a girl came out of the room screaming. A silly figure moved forward and opened the door. She informed Isaac that she had arrived. Are you okay? She asked. Isaac was sucking on a candy. She couldn't believe the curse was so strong that he was still so short. Isaac smirked, thinking he was sitting small on purpose. They believed it was because of some curse, but the truth was that babies absorb power better than anyone else. There was a level only a baby could reach. The spirit woke up, stretching his arm. Aile asked, Did you sleep well? Shalak, the spirit said, I am purifying Isaac, no matter what. He added, I almost finished yesterday, but then he crushed Isaac again, noticing how much more demonic mana he had today. Shalak screamed, There's so much more mana in there. Every time he wakes up, there's always more. Isaac smiled, thinking about it. He had been absorbing mana from Manors every night for the past 10 years. Whisper laughed softly. So did Isaac. Whisper says, I didn't realize there was so much mana beneath the annex. I thought it would take 40 years to finish this, but surprisingly, Isaac completed it in just 10. Isaac thinks he's done collecting mana. Even though he didn't have formal training and had to learn everything on his own, he's now capable of casting 6th rank holy spells. Ailey steps forward and gently says, everything will be fine. The high priests are taking action as well. Isaac feels confused when he hears about the high priests. Ailey explains they are working to remove those who posed a serious threat to the Empire, the 14 ancient magical beings. Isaac is stunned to hear that. Ailey adds, soon we'll be able to completely purify the remaining trace of the Skeleton King's mana. Isaac finds it hard to believe they're going through with this. He thinks they don't even know how much I had to do to get to this point. Ailey hands him a piece of candy and gently says, get some rest. Isaac realizes that he may need to act quickly regarding the High Priest's plans. Outside, Gowel and Shuri are walking together. Gowel says to him, not only did they skip a grade, but he is also the youngest ordained priest. Gowel tells him that the princess is also coming to his ordination, so he can escort her while being at the top of his class. She tells him that this is nothing as he is his son. Gowel feels pretty proud of She doing so much, but suddenly he disappears, leaving Gowel shocked. Isaac calls She to him, and She falls into Isaac's room. He greets She and asks, do you want to die? Isaac asks, can't you stop lying? And adds, do you think you can just get away with things because you got into the academy? She is terrified that Isaac is once again part of his life. Isaac tells him that he managed to achieve all this because he coached him. She screams that he did his best and asks, do you think it's easy to be ordained and be at the top of my class? Isaac reminds him that this would have been impossible if he had been on his own, and Shuri agrees. Isaac thinks he should be preparing for all this as most holy spells are only available to someone who is ordained. He asks She to help him. She asked him about the help he needs. He asks She to give him everything he wants. He tells him to give him the prize money for the quiz competition and the things Gowel gave him. She figures Isaac is, once again, being a demon. Then Isaac asked him about the Skeleton King's minions being killed. She replies that since the relic storage incident, they no longer listen to orders. He adds that they all seem to be waiting to die, so they're going to get executed. Isaac says that he will do it within the year. She questions him on his plans, and Isaac says he will be doing the priest's ordination. She tells him he's not even in the academy and asks if he has plans to do it. He laughs at him. Isaac asks if he's laughing. She says he's not. She explains there's a recommendation system and some academy professors are here as well. He says that with a letter of recommendation, one can be ordained if they pass the test. Isaac figures this is just a convenient way of nepotism. She says that for that, he needs to have done something to prove his character. Isaac questions She as he thinks badly of his father and his character. She tells them they only write someone's recommendation if one has saved someone's life. The higher in society, the better. He adds, it won't be easy to find someone like that in a priest's place, let alone save them. Isaac figures he only has 1 month and asks, is the princess coming? Shuri hesitantly confirms the princess is coming. Isaac asks, is a princess of a very lofty position in society? Later, at the training grounds of Joshua Manor, I'll ask some people to go away, saying, Isaac won't go to the capital. One guy replies, it is different this year. Someone else says Isaac needs to come to the Foundation Festival this year because it is where all the same candidates are being ordained. This puts Eli in serious thought. He figures that while all the other candidates have been making a name for themselves these past 10 years, Isaac has not shown himself to the world. The guy told Isaac he had performed an incredible feat in the relic storage 10 years ago. He said he had heard that Isaac was in the East Wing, just like the Saints once had been. Everyone was excited to see how much he had grown. The woman said that, as an educator, it was her life's wish to teach Isaac. She also mentioned that this ordination was on the same date as the princess's birthday, so the Pope would be there too. They were putting Eli in confusion. The woman continued, saying that the Pope was going to personally grant hero titles to the ones being ordained. Eli thought that receiving a hero title would multiply one's strength, greatly benefiting him. However, he still told them that Isaac was not old enough to be ordained. They were choked, asking if there was something significant about age when it came to talent. Eli, tired of answering, told them to do whatever they wanted. But he added, take responsibility for your words. Another explosion occurred, and a man stood outside, observing the blast from a distance, watching the explosion. He figures that Isaac is there. As the smoke rises, the man is shocked to summon a royal rank spirit and contract with it. Something even the Pope can only do for a short period of time is extraordinary. A spirit exorcism is not a usual thing. He is further stunned to see the summoned spirit is a black-haired spirit of fire. This spirit is the one who manages the barriers of heaven, but it could not become the Spirit King because of the wicked treatment it suffered. The man thinks about the Pope and his family. They love to collect spirits, and because of this obsession, they will eventually go insane. He guesses that if he manages to steal this spirit and give it to them, they will definitely reward him. He recalls that he also has something that neutralizes divine mana, so his preparations are complete. He figures that if he suppresses the little kid's divine mana, the Skeleton King's dark mana will surely go berserk. He decides he just needs to smuggle the spirit away while things are in chaos. The teachers enter the room to see Isaac. They are shocked to see that Isaac is the same size as he usually is. Isaac looks up at them, his expression soft and cute, and everyone thinks he is super cute. They want to take him to the academy as soon as possible. The guy from before comes inside, thinking that Isaac is charming people here. He wants to make the Skeleton King's mana go berserk with all he has. He picks Isaac up and hugs him, hoping to trigger the berserk state. As he holds Isaac, he thinks to himself, he's so cute. But then, he's shocked. Nothing is happening. Despite letting out enough of his holy mana to make the dark mana go rogue, nothing triggers. Just then, Shelik notices him. She questions him about being here and orders him to kill a priest as soon as possible. The man, now noticing the royal rank spirit, realizes this is his chance. He brings out his handkerchief and begins wiping Isaac's face, asking if he's sweating due to the weather. Isaac smells the handkerchief and understands his intentions. Suddenly, the spirit starts to choke on something. The man watches in disbelief as the spirit begins to disappear, a loud explosion ringing out as the spirit rises into the air. The man looks around, asking the others, is the spirit going berserk from the Skeleton King's mana? All of them think this is purely dangerous. The professor thinks he just needs to smuggle out the crazed spirit, and then he breaks something in his hands. He uses his magic and the agonizing cleaver to attack the spirit. As they are waiting, the fire magic comes back and attacks the professor instead of the spirit. Isaac smirks as he sees the professor. In no time, Ailey and Rai run inside the room. Isaac starts to use his magic, thinking this will be good since they now have spectators. He begins to absorb the mana throughout the room. The teacher is shocked to see that Isaac is absorbing the mana. The lady says that he is claiming the frenzy. Isaac looks at everyone and figures, this will take care of the mana. Isaac thinks this is the time to send the spirit back. With one click of his fingers, the spirit is going back now. Ailey and Ray are shocked to see this and call it Or Divinity. The spirit was asleep for a second and then woke back up, not knowing what had just happened. The teachers are shocked that he controlled the Skeleton King's mana, and he even claimed the Berserk spirit. Rail thinks this is a miracle. He moves forward, telling Isaac that he has started to speak. Ailey tells him, I am so proud of you. Isaac cannot believe that this was the only thing they noticed. All of them picked Isaac and started cheering for him. The professor, with evil intentions, is shocked. He does not understand whatever just happened. Shellac tells him, you should be the one asking about this whole thing. He looks at the professor furiously, demanding to know who did all this. The professor says, I was only here to meet Isaac. I wasn't behind any of this. Sherlock responds, you're the one dressed head to toe in first resistant clothes, and you're calling me mistaken. He continues, from now on, all spirits of force are to cease contact with priests involved with the Pope. He laughs and says, I'm doing this because I'm pissed off, and I hope you won't get any wrong ideas. The professor asked him to wait, fury in his voice, as he questions, what do you mean by cutting ties with the priests? A spirit cannot simply do this, especially to the popes. Sherlock asked him not to speak and tells him again that he cut ties with the gods long ago and that he is no longer bound by rules. Isaac smirks as Sherlock says this. Sherlock then tells the professor to get out of his sight. Sherlock calls Isaac and says, I know that you saved me with divine mana and even managed to tame the Skeleton King's mana. He continues, since the Skeleton King's mana was purified, our contract here ends, but I will stay by your side to repay what you've done for me. Isaac is glad as he knew this would be expected from the Holy Spirits. The teacher gladly tells them, now we will return to the Sancted and report everything that has happened. She adds, a child of this caliber must be ordained no matter what. Later, Rai appears in front of Eli and presents him with a paper. Eli figures the Sancted approved the ordination of Isaac. Eli informs him, they want you to attend this ordination ceremony. Really is shocked. They're calling you so quickly. He asks, do they get fast-tracked? Because he saved the people of Joshua and the academy. Eli says that he got recommended. He saved a royal rank spirit, and after something like that happened, nobody could oppose him. He adds that before that, getting ordained was the same as graduating from the academy. So he tested Isaac to see if he had the required knowledge. Eli says that Isaac got a perfect score on all 1,600 questions. Ray cannot believe that Isaac got such a perfect score. He says he wishes for nothing more, as Isaac can speak and walk around fine too. Eli says it is just that his attitude is so bad. He says that he needs to test his personality now, and most people pass unless they are severely immoral or some kind of criminal. Rael says that he remembers this and that Avon is a test with a holy spell that forces him to tell the truth. Eli asks, should we see how he did everything? When he checks the details, he sees that when Isaac is being asked about the household that birthed and fed him, Isaac says, I would conquer it, and that it is all his. Rai thinks this is spirited, but Eli is taken aback a little. Still, that much spirit is expected of one of them. He was asked about his plans after the ordination, and Isaac said he wanted to bite off the heads of the gods. When he was asked to explain his dreams and aspirations as a priest of the Holy Helen Empire, Isaac said he wanted to destroy the country. Reading the answers, Rai is shocked to his core. Eli clears his throat and says that only he and Riley have seen the results. He adds that if Isaac takes another test like this one, he will be executed instead of ordained. Real slams the table and asks to be ordained in his stead. He then requests that Isaac not be allowed out of the house in the meantime. Real slams back and says that Isaac needs some education first. Later, Whisper asks Isaac if he has made his decision. Isaac grabs his luggage and tells him that he is running away through the window. The scene opens with the capital's Roman Academy. At the Holy Spell Division, people are talking about how they've heard a 10-year-old is being ordained this time. They are shocked to hear that a child is being ordained. He must have done something to get ordained this early. They think the graduation ceremony is going to be quite something. What if it lasts? How can a child who cannot even walk be ordained? The other questions, the child can't even walk. The guy says even in 10 years, the child hasn't grown. He was cursed by the Skeleton King, so there's no way he can grow. The guy calls Shuri, asking if he is right. He teases a child can't be ordained. This must be an honorary title. Shuri sighs, annoyed at the guys. Isaac does too. The guy with red hair looks back and says, being in the Saints' household is great. Even an unqualified one gets to be ordained. Shuri gets up furiously after hearing this. Just then, the elder comes and asks, do you think the Sancticides is a joke? She tells the guy who was mocking her. The one who accepted Isaac's recommendation was his father, Dupley, in September. She adds, I didn't think he was big enough of an idiot. To insult his father, the kid starts to scold the girl furiously, saying she isn't even from the academy and that she shouldn't be here. She replies, I was invited. She adds, I've been instructed to mentor you all and act as a holy spell instructor. She calls Sheer, saying, he worries me a lot too. Upon asking, she tells him there's no way that cursed Isaac can become a priest. Joshua had better be fine until he becomes the patriarch. She then says, if your house falls into ruin, come see me. I'll offer you a menial position at the house of the Pope. Shuri clenches his wrist, but then calms himself, thinking, this is not the right time. As she passes by, she tells her, I don't need you, and she teases him as she walks past him. She grows furiously mad at her. At the dormitories, Shuri is furious, questioning his existence. He's angry that his family didn't even attend his ordination because Isaac ran away. He curses Isaac for running away at such a time. He wishes that Isaac would lose all his hair like the Skeleton King. Just then, Isaac pops up in his room asking about his words. She gets scared hearing his voice. Isaac asked him, do you want to die? Shuri questions him about being there. Isaac responds, I have come here to be ordained. The patriarch kept trying to stop me, so I ran away. Isaac brings something out of his jacket, and she starts to get furious. Are you going to ask me for something again? He snaps. Isaac gets angry in return. Are you going around getting offered menial positions by the members of the Pope's house? Before Shuri can speak, Isaac hits him in the stomach and asks, did they disrespect the name of Joshua's house? Isaac screams, Joshua is mine. Only I am allowed to insult them, and only I am allowed to drive it to ruin. Shuri doesn't understand anything. Isaac tells him, remember, I will be the one burning the house of Joshua. Then he adds, don't be a baby, get up. She asks about his whereabouts, and Isaac replies, I'll go to those who messed with Shuri myself. Later, all the academy students are gathered together. Just then, a girl notices Isaac and questions him about it, while another thinks Isaac has really pretty hair. Isaac laughs, asking, who messed with Shuri Joshua? He spots the redhead and remembers her from the relic storage 10 years ago. She runs behind Isaac, trying to stop him from causing trouble. Isaac looks at the redhead, recalling that she is Nigel's sister, Naki Sepet. She jumps to grab Isaac, but he's already stepped onto the table in front of Naki. Isaac points at her and asks, did you mess with Shuri? Naki replies, I've never bothered Shuri Joshua. It was Nigel who did. Isaac presses, so you're admitting your crime. Naki hesitates and clarifies, no, it was Nigel who bothered Shuri, not me. Whisper tells Isaac, I'm getting similar vibes from Naki too. Isaac figures the energy coming from her is tied to the 5 major gods. Naki points at Isaac, recognizing him from the rumors. She adds that one is a cursed infant and the other is a child of the Pope's family. The Azers won't be able to amount to anything this year either. She says it won't be long until the Joshua are wiped from the 5 faiths. For her rudeness, Isaac figures she must be from the house that serves the 5 major gods. Shuri, she tells him, we cannot antagonize the House of Crimson. We should head back home. Isaac tells Shuri to shut up. I won't go back. I'm getting my ordination. Naki tells him, you'll never be ordained. Nigel said he would protest to the Pope and cancel it. Hearing this, Shuri's blood boils with anger. Naki adds, with the way you act, Isaac, it looks like you'll be cancelled even before Nigel protests. Just then, a woman calls out to Naki. Should we call an Inquisitor just in case? Shuri recalls that 70% of the Inquisitors are from House Crimson, and this worries him. He grabs Isaac, urging, we need to go now. But just then, they hear kids screaming. The sound is followed by the unmistakable appearance of a wolf. Looking like a monster, everyone tells each other to run as soon as possible, but Isaac thinks this is his insurance. Everyone questions if the monster has escaped from the practice room. The lady covers Naki and tells her to stay back, as this is dangerous. But the monster attacks Naki's servants and puts her to the ground. Naki is shocked. He doesn't even see the monster approaching for the attack. Just then, Isaac calls the monster and hits it with his weapon. He puts the monster on the ground, trying to save Naki, thinking he kept calling the monster, but it came too late. The monster gets up again and growls at them. Naki tries to attack the monster, but Isaac calls the monster and curses it. The monster growls, but when it feels Isaac's mana, it quickly calms down, winces, and stops. Whisper praises Isaac for dragging out a monster that was resting peacefully, then beating it up and chasing it off as part of his act. Just then, the Inquisitors arrive, asking for the monster. Everyone asks the kids to get away from the monster and figures that the monster has run away. They ask Naki if she is okay. Isaac figures the Inquisitors have arrived. Shuri grabs Isaac, trying to flee from the scene. But, as usual, the Inquisitor stops Shuri, informing him that he cannot leave until the investigation is complete. She thinks it is over now. He tells the Inquisitors that they have done nothing. Naki calls the Inquisitor and asks him not to do anything useless. Pointing at Isaac, she says, Isaac saved my life. Isaac and she stare at her in confusion. She walks toward them, apologizing for whatever she said to them. She adds, I'm not particularly thankful to him, and tries to show them a little attitude. Everyone else is shocked. Isaac has already received a recommendation because he saved some people, and now he saved Naki again. The princess of the Holy Helen Empire, Charlotte Electric Hela, appears, thinking, is Isaac the one my brother was talking about? In Eli's office, a voice asks Eli, what is the reason for the refusal? Is it not good that his grandson is being ordained? The voice asks him to allow the ordination, but Eli tells it to shut up. The voice warns that the Pope will be enraged. Eli retorts, saying it's not his problem. He adds that his grandson will be educated in his manor until he's fully grown. The voice states that if they keep a child locked up like that, he'll have serious problems in the future. Eli thinks Isaac already has some problems. The voice asks if Eli has heard the news. Apparently, a silver-haired baby is walking around the academy. Eli's fury flares up. Knowing the baby must be Isaac, he calls Ray his office. Ray quickly rushes over. Eli orders him, we need to go to the capital right now. We must be there by tomorrow. Ray points out that even on the fastest route, it will take at least a week. Eli, with determination, tells him they have only 23 hours and 43 minutes left. We will be running, he orders. The next day, she bangs on Isaac's door. He asks Isaac about his plans, then quickly adds, don't even think about trying to stuff that tiny body into the priest's robe, and asks him to get out already. He tells him they will be laughing at them if they do this. Isaac replies, I've finished, and Sherry enters, telling him to leave for home right now. But when he sees him, he is shocked to see the grown-up Isaac. Isaac tells him, we should head toward the ordination now. On the last day of the Foundation Day Festival Ordination Banquet, there are several kids present in the hall, all wearing priest robes. The kids get orders to rise from their seats, and the patriarchs of the 5 houses start appearing. Yawel stands up, clapping, thinking that the patriarchs of the 5 houses have appeared. The next patriarch of Joshua and the cardinal of Azure shall be him. Riley appears, asking if he is late. Yawel is frustrated to see him. Riley asks if he has seen Isaac, and Yawel replies, Isaac must be home, not here. Isaac feels famished, and Yawel asks, did you come here running all the way? Ray agrees and asks him about Shuri. Yawel tries to say that he does not know, but then the Pope. Julio Barrett and everyone rise up for him. They all bow and praise the Pope as he arrives. The Pope sits on his throne and asks everyone to sit down. Sitting down, Eli thinks that he still has not seen Isaac. The Pope is the Ordination, and those who were called are asked to step forward. They call the name Isaac Joshua, but no one appears. While drinking, Eli thinks that they should not call someone who is not even here and should move on to the next candidate. Just then, a voice presents himself as Isaac Joshua, and all of them are in shock. Isaac has grown up and walks toward everyone. Everyone is shocked and furious to see him all grown up in no time. Isaac comes forward, and even the other kids are stunned to see him. Riley looks at him and tears up, seeing his growth and noticing that Isaac has put on the priest robe that Riley made for him. Everyone is talking about how they thought he was still an infant, but he must be very powerful to defeat the Skeleton King's curse. Nailo gets furious, questioning Isaac's growth. Isaac calmly looks at everyone and says nothing. Eli himself seems furious at Skeleton King, thinking he has done something to Isaac. He believes the Skeleton King has possessed his body. The other kid looks at him and thinks Isaac no longer appears cursed, but instead feels threatened. Isaac steps in front of the Pope, observing him. He thinks the Pope looks over 70, but radiates energy like a beast. Isaac also sees the faces of all the popes he has fought over the years within him. Isaac wonders to himself if he should slit his throat right here. Real and Ally recall that when Isaac was asked about his wish after being newly ordained, Isaac wrote he would want the Pope to stay on his knees so it would be easy to behead him. Eli clenched his fist, thinking Isaac needed to be stopped. Eli's hand slipped and he broke the table. Riley discovered a cockroach. Gabble thinks they've gone crazy. Isaac figures they're trying to stop him. She will be called next. She appears beside Isaac, and the Pope looks at them, speechless. The guy says that the kids to be ordained will now pay their respects to the god. Everyone is excited to know about the god who will shine their blessings on Shuri and Isaac. Eli thinks it will probably be the patron saint of Azure. Riley prays it to be the saint of Azure and thinks there should not be a way for some evil god to come to him. Eli says if this happens, then we will be set out to destroy. Riley gets worried hearing such an answer from his father. She moves forward, picking up his finger with a needle. He drops his blood in the holy water, and a mana starts to form right away. Gowl cheers, my son, the patron saint of the cure, will come himself. Shuri returns, while Isaac thinks that Joshua served the god of light, which is the miserly god of pure heart. Isaac picks his finger and thinks he would be pissed no matter what god comes. As Isaac drops his blood, the Pope is shocked, and as his blood touches the water, a great black mana starts to flow out from the water. In no time, the skeleton appears in the hall. Eli quickly runs as he sees the Skeleton King. Isaac feels confused about whatever is happening. Real channels his magic and wishes for the Skeleton King to die. But the Skeleton King has chained up Isaac and keeps him to himself. The Skeleton King says, I waited for the Holy One to come, and now I will destroy the Holy Empire, piece by piece, starting with Isaac. Chained up, Isaac feels annoyed by the Skeleton King. He thinks the Skeleton King looks exactly like him from before and thinks this is gross. Whisper also screams, asking about the Skeleton King and calling him an imposter. Whisper then calls Isaac more of a loser and an idiot than this one. The Pope and Patriarch of the House Crimson gather their magic to attack. As they attack, Eli moves forward to grab Isaac, but he can't and grunts in frustration. Ray asks others to get back. Eli uses his holy magic to produce serpent magic, attacking the Skeleton King. But the Skeleton King dodges and tells the Patriarch of the Azure, your powers are limited due to the curse. The Skeleton King tells Isaac that it would be best if he stayed still. Eli says, I didn't want to act at first. I was afraid the building might collapse. But now that I've said too much, I have no choice. Eli prepares for a powerful attack. Just as he's about to strike, the Skeleton King grabs Isaac and says, do you want me to harm the little saint? Isaac realizes the same thing. Eli's grandson is being threatened. Still, Eli continues summoning his strength. A massive shark-like creature opens its mouth. Eli calmly tells the Skeleton King, the child will be safe from this. Isaac, however, feels that this is reckless. There's no way this won't hurt me, he thinks. A massive explosion erupts and Isaac shields himself with his arms. Soon after, the Skeleton King begins to fade. As the smoke clears, silence settles over the area. Gowl wonders if the giant shark has truly taken down the Skeleton King. Others begin to question whether the Skeleton King has returned, noting that he hasn't been seen since cursing the Joshua family 70 years ago. They suspect he may have been regaining strength all that time. Now, Isaac rises to his feet, filled with determination. Thinking that whoever is coming as a Skeleton King is an imposter, Rel asks Isaac if he is okay and is shocked that Isaac is fine after all this. Isaac asks, is the Skeleton King dead? Real replies, it might be, as the Patriarch shredded it with his wail. Isaac says there's no way it's dead. It was just an illusion. Whisper tells Isaac it was just a shadow clone of itself, but there was something off with it. Isaac knows that something is different. It's using my mana, he says. Isaac questions, did my monocore get dropped somewhere too? He thinks, seeing how there was a piece of his bone in the Saint's relic storage, that it's not completely impossible. He adds, if that imposter has my monocore, then it's even better. I can just kill it and take it back. Eli appears behind Isaac, speechlessly looking at him. He thinks that back then, if he hadn't attacked, the Pope would have attacked and killed Isaac too. Eli looks back at the Pope, who is immersed in his thoughts. He doesn't believe that the greatest God, the God that the House of the Gods has been courting for thousands of years, almost chose Isaac Joshua. The Pope feels threatened and is not happy about it. Eli steps forward, calling Isaac over. He asks Isaac to head back with him. Eli thinks that Isaac has grown so handsome after defeating the curse. Isaac is shocked as he sees Eli smiling awkwardly. Eli tells him, I'll buy you some tasty candies. Isaac, looking at Eli's strange smile, thinks Eli is acting as though he's about to drag him to a slaughterhouse. Just then, Kina calls the Duke, telling Isaac, you should not head home right now. She says it because some monsters have appeared and she wants Isaac to take care of them. Isaac agrees with the girl and the patriarch himself prepares to deal with the monsters. Kina stays behind Isaac, thinking about his growth now that he is his saint. Isaac thinks he doesn't know why he's doing this, but he will get his use out of it. They move forward together to deal with the monsters in front of them. Isaac uses his holy magic to purify the monsters. Isaac murmured. All the elders were shocked. They had not seen such a clear night in 100 years. But the elders were even more surprised. Isaac wasn't attacking. Instead, he was using purifying magic. They thought his magic had purifying properties, maybe even the power to stop more of the monsters from spawning. Isaac figured that Shellac was the only one who could teach him the spells. But he also knew that if one reached the 6th rank purification, they could deal area of effect damage over time. Kina looked at Isaac, her face tense. Move away, she urged. Your magic won't defeat them. Isaac paused, then said, I must be 1 in a billion to be using 5th rank magic. He shook his head. You can't rival me with your level of talent. Kina scowled, then pointed at the monsters. Look closely. You need to use powerful holy magic. Attack from multiple sides to take them out. Isaac chuckled. Kina froze, shocked by his laughter. Have you not learned about the monsters? Isaac asked. They have strong regeneration. You need to take them out in one powerful stroke. Isaac's eyes gleamed with understanding. Saying that Kina knows nothing, Kina thinks he should have just let Eli take the monsters. Isaac tells him that all these monsters are bait. Kina is shocked to hear this. Isaac points at a place and says, this is the main force. Isaac uses his magic and a bug appears there. He grabs the bug and Kina asks him about his plan for it. Isaac kills the bug and an explosion occurs. After that, Isaac tells Kina that the bug slowly poisons those around it. These are dangerous, he says. If the poison spreads to someone slowly, no one will ever find out the reason they died. Isaac then tells everyone, seconds ago, the Skeleton King told us he would destroy us. But first, he needs to take down the priests before he destroys the Empire. Everyone looks around, searching for the bugs. All the priests start killing the bugs, which shocks Isaac. He tries to question them about killing the bugs so quickly. Whisper appears and tells Isaac, this is an opportunity. You should purify those who fell, and everyone will recognize his ability. Isaac thinks this is great, but just then, the Pope uses the 9th rank holy spell. He absorbs the mana around everyone. The Pope informs us that no one will be poisoned anymore. Isaac thinks the Pope is pretty unhelpful. Just then, a wolf appears telling them if you disobey your great, he won't forgive you and will take you down with him. The wolf tries to attack Isaac, and Isaac quickly turns, noticing it is approaching him. But as soon as the wolf sees his power, it retreats quickly. Besides Isaac, Kina just witnessed what Isaac did and was shocked that he had scared away a monster by just glaring at it. He clenches his fists, thinking that Isaac can do this. It's something only the Pope would normally be able to manage. Later, all the patriarchs read news about the recent events. One of the patriarchs says, there seems to have been a problem with the bowl containing the holy water. He adds, there was an illusion summoning spell, and we are investigating the source of the bowl and waiting for the result. Crimson's patriarch asks, are you saying the presence of the outsiders is a problem? The other patriarch responds, this plays a part, but the Empire's barrier, which their holy dragon protects, is an issue. At Joshua's residence, Isaac thinks the barrier is failing because of the monster's invasion, and that it is not the Pope's fault, since the holy dragon is affiliated with the royalty. While he is thinking, Gubble appears, shocked that Isaac can now read the newspaper. He congratulates Isaac on his ordination. Ree is also happy that Isaac can speak well now. We can make him read the poem that curses the Skeleton King, he says. Just then, Eli appears and tells Isaac to leave them for a moment. Isaac leaves the room and Eli uses their rank holy magic to completely seal the room. Real asks, is there something important going on to use such magic? Eli replies, I use this because I cannot trust my office either, as the discussion is about Isaac. He pauses, then says, now, I believe Isaac was chosen by an evil god at the Ordination. Al adds, it's certain that the god Isaac chose was not normal. He adds that it seems a sigil, one that has never been seen before in an Ordination, has appeared. He says the only ones who saw the sigil were the Pope and the Cardinal of Gold, and that the Pope tried to kill Isaac. Ray is shocked as he did not notice when the Pope tried to kill him. Eli says the Pope must have done it because Isaac chose an evil god. Gowell thinks maybe it was not an evil god, but Isaac picked a god from their own house. He proposes maybe he chose the faith of gold. Gowell continues, those people hate it when others get involved in what is theirs. So if a person of Joshua picks a god that the people of gold serve, they would not take that lightly. He says if the Pope acted that way, then Isaac must have chosen a god that only the House of Gold has picked before. Gowell also suggests Isaac might have chosen a god that hasn't been chosen yet. Real thinks this could be possible if it is Isaac. Eli asks, do you think Isaac would have picked a proper god? Gowell quickly answers negatively and hesitates, staying silent. Enti asks Gowell to contact the Pope's house and try to find out which god contacted Isaac. Gowell seems uneasy about Eli choosing him, but Eli proposes that if he succeeds, Eli will give Shuri a prize relic. Eli also says that from now on, until Isaac begins practical training, they will be taking special care of him. He adds that if Isaac has the same results in the test of faith as last time, that child will probably end up as a dark priest. Gowell thinks that if Isaac really becomes a dark priest, the entire house will be labeled traitors. They will be brought in for conspiracy, and even Shuri will be in trouble. Eli tells them they need to stop this all at all costs. Later, Rael says that their nephews will begin practical training soon. He mentions that his upperclassmen hate him so much, but it is all in the past now. Isaac feels annoyed and feels like he has been enlisted in the army all over again. Rael says that they will be working with his upperclassmen for his training. He adds that they will find what specialty suits them and learn about what priests really do, things they cannot learn from the academy. He says that the results of this training will determine where they will be assigned and how they will be treated. He adds that they will contract with a god once this period is over. Isaac raises his hand, asking about participation in the offering ceremony. Rael excitedly asks, are you interested in the offerings? Isaac replies, I'm very much interested, especially with the execution of the Skeleton King's minions. Rael smiles and says, I'm so happy to see you growing up this way. I'll explain everything to you. He continues, the offering ceremony is when we give offerings to the gods, and many people gather for a celebration. He adds, a lot of people come to this, but first and foremost, the ceremony is about our feelings and faith toward the god. It's actually quite personal. Rael pauses for a moment before adding, this brings us back to the fundamental question. Should we really gather for this ceremony or not? He reflects for a second, then says, when you think about it for a minute, the offering ceremony is essentially a type of ritual we conduct for our gans. And rituals have always been a communal activity, he says. The essence of this practice is that they are serving the gods together, with the proof of that becoming their personal faith toward the gods. Isaac figures Rai is actually enjoying explaining this. Really starts to tell an interesting fact. What is most important is the purpose people gather there for and the mindset with which they participate. Then he adds, I might have gone a little off course, but I think you now have a good idea about it. He keeps speaking while Isaac thinks that the lower gods and angels do take part in the ceremony. Isaac hopes to meet them, as he wants to tear them to shreds. Rele smiles and says, I know you're looking forward to executing the minions yourself. He continues, and this type of righteous hostility is needed. Gowell tells them the team with the best graves will be given the privilege to execute the Skeleton King's minions. He then asks Shuri to do his best. She understands, but Isaac is annoyed to hear that there will be a team for this project. Rele says, I want both of you to get great grades so you can achieve your dreams. Isaac tells him he understands while thinking of killing a few of them and rescuing the rest. Looking at Isaac, Rael thinks that he is such a lovely child and can never become a dark priest. Then Gowell asks Isaac about the god that chose him during ordination. Isaac looks at him in shock and says, I don't remember, but it was a disgusting sigil, enough to make me puke. This makes them think it must be some evil god. Rael hesitantly says, it's okay. There are some gods who look a little ominous. Isaac responds, I don't really mind seeing an ominous god. Just then, someone calls Isaac furiously. When they look, it is Kina Barrett coming for Isaac. She says, I have business with Isaac. Gowell and Rael are shocked to see her there. Rael wonders if she has come to hurt Isaac or if the Pope sent her. Galwell thinks it could be possible if this is about the evil god. Kina grabs Isaac's hand and says, I thought you were worthless, but I want to be true. She adds, I've realized you haven't shown yourself to the world these past 10 years because you were training. She adds that he did not want his skills to be contaminated by the likes of those in the academy. She knew at the Ordination that he was excellent, incomparable to the others, and was a waste of time for someone like him to be stuck doing practical training. Isaac and Whisper both think Kina is a bit crazy. She asked Isaac to train under her grandfather. We'll dive headfirst into the real deal, she says. Take my hand, and we shall behead the Skeleton King and lead the Holy Empire together. She thinks this is a new form of bullying for the Pope, but then she considers that Kina might actually be serious and the conditions are freakishly good. Isaac stands up and says, piss off. Kina is shocked, but Isaac continues, I'll be proceeding with my practical training. Sherry figures Isaac has always been insane. Kina tells him not to worry about the priest's qualifications. I'm not just asking you to train, she says, I'll give you experience equal to 10 years. But Isaac pushes her away. He points at Shuri and tells her, take Shuri instead. Kina says that there is a difference between him and Shuri. Kina says that he has enough talent to chase away a monster with a single gaze. Whisper tells her that she must have seen him chasing away the monster that appeared. Isaac thinks she is doing this to learn the intimidation technique from him, and that makes him say no even more. Isaac tells her he would say it again. Thinking about being tutored by the Pope makes him want to puke. Kina asks in shock, are you calling my grandfather someone worthy of puking at the sight of? Isaac replies that he would like to take his hand away. Ely comes forward and puts his hand over Isaac's mouth. He quickly takes him away, telling him that his grandson is busy and they don't want Kina anywhere near their child. Kina tries to speak, but Eli interrupts, saying that if she hangs out with him, she'll rub off his bad influence. Kina and the others are shocked to hear this. Isaac gets angry and wants to bring ruin upon the Joshua family. Next, the story opens with a pentagon. It is the exam that all trainee priests must pass. There is an order in which they will be tested, with a cardinal of each faith testing them. The order is white, gold, azure, black, and red. Isaac stands outside a room, wondering if his roommates are in there. He thinks that grouping 30 kids of similar background or faith feels like a faction war. Opening the door reflects that sending Shuri to school ahead of him is paying off. He steps inside, determined to use these people to pass the pentagon and save his minions. He wants to make a good impression. But as he enters, everyone seems to be waiting for him, and none of them look happy to see him. One of them asks, are you the one who bullied She all those years? Another one sneers, these upperclassmen of yours are going to teach you some manners. They threaten him, saying, if you tell this to Shuri, we'll kill you. Isaac feels a surge of annoyance. He pulls out his shaker, and everyone bursts into laughter. A child's shaker? You were an infant till recently. Isaac, unbothered, hits one of them with the shaker. The boy collapses to the ground, and the room goes silent. Everyone is shocked to see him do this. Isaac tells them that they are right. They should better get close, do some team-building exercises, and get good grades too. He raises his shaker, and, with a weird smile, invites them to be his friends. Everyone starts screaming as they see him behaving like this. Later, she tells Isaac that he may not understand him. Isaac has them all on their knees, sitting above them. When she asks if this is some team-building exercise, one of the guys asks she to help, as they are from the same families. Shuri thanks them all for entertaining his cousin. Shuri screams and tells Isaac that the first test is about the team's harmony. He asks about Isaac's plans. Isaac says he has already made them create this pyramid and asks if there is any more harmony needed. Then Isaac asks him to take a look at something. He shows him a list of people who were trying to leech off of him. He says that these guys here have made a variety of excuses to get their worth out of him over the past 7 years. He says that he knows that House Joshua is known for not expecting anything in return. But this is too much. One of the guys screams, Joshua does not need anything from us, and nothing we offer can be of any use to him. Isaac reminds him, you have your organs all fresh, all your limbs intact. I'm not asking for too much. I just want a healthy relationship where we receive as much as we give. He asks them to do their duty diligently with purity in their hearts. Isaac then says, answer me, and they all obey. He finishes with, the team building is over, and the guys quickly disperse, heading in different directions. Shuri asks, what's the possibility of us failing the exam? Isaac responds, I have something I want to show you. Follow me. Isaac opens a cupboard, and inside is a boy. He asks Shuri to look in first. Shuri is shocked. He questions, what is this? Why are you doing this? Is he a friend of our uncle's? He then asks, do you remember Shim from the storage relic? Isaac nods, I remember. The problem is, he's in our group. He says the man left a letter stating that he was stepping down from spying. Shuri is stunned and turns to look at the man. He quickly grabs him by the shoulder and asks, was this Nigel's doing? The man apologizes. I had no choice. I had my reasons. Isaac presses further, asking about Nigel's plan. The man explains he told me to do whatever it took to break up Joshua's group. He adds, Nigel said he'd approve most of my requests because of the test, so I kept pushing until the group couldn't function. Tears fill the man's eyes as he confesses the way I acted toward Isaac during the entrance ceremony was all part of Nigel's orders. He continues, Nigel wanted to be the one to confront and defeat the Skeleton King's former followers. Isaac is shocked. Not only had Nigel seemed kind, but he was also the one taking action behind the scenes. Isaac decides it's time to confront Nigel about everything. A few days later, Nigel is frustrated with someone who decided to stop spying. The man responds calmly, we've got team-building exercises to focus on now, and they cannot do so. Nigel is angry, but tells the guy to get out. Another girl asks him not to worry, as there are 3 people loyal to him in this group. Nigel thinks that something about Isaac bothers him, and he wants to get rid of him quickly. It annoys him so much because his father is also showing his interest in Isaac. He can't believe that his father invited him over to their house. He thinks that whatever it is, it will be over after today. On the other hand, the priest's kids are welcome at the Pentagon of Harmony. Isaac yawns as being in the long line is tiring him out. They say that the theme of the first Pentagon Harmony will be tested through a vote. Nigel thinks that if even one member of that group vetoes the notion of keeping the team together, then everyone on the team will fail. The one who votes no will be reassigned to another team. He figures this means that those who vote no against the Azers can still continue the exams. He figures he still has spies on his side and thinks this way he can take down Isaac. A woman stands in front of them. Saying that she will be announcing the results now, she announces that the Azure team members are in favor of staying as a team, which disturbs Nigel. She announces that the Azure team has passed the Pentagon Harmony. Isaac looks back and smirks at Nigel. Later, Shuri asks Isaac to stop and inquires how he managed to convince everyone to vote to stay as a team. Isaac asks, do you remember how the Cardinal of Gold kept looking for me a few days back? Shuri recalls, saying that despite being a lowly apprentice, Isaac refused him like a lunatic. Isaac replies, I asked him to give me the golden pill if he wished to meet me. Shuri cannot believe that Isaac asked for something so precious. He recalls that it is called the Pill of Legends, rumored to be possessed only by those of the Faith of Gold. Isaac nods and says, he gave you the pill, and then I bribed my teammates using it. Shuri is shocked. You told your teammates you'd share the pills with them after the vote? Isaac responds, no, I gave him the pills before the voting. Shuri questions, but your teammates could have betrayed you. But Isaac smirks, saying he trusts his teammates. Shuri is shocked that Isaac is actually slowly becoming like a priest. She thinks this is good. But as Isaac opens the door, all the teammates collapse in the room and beg for the antidote. Isaac tells She that he has faith they will not betray him because he has them all here. She asked if he poisoned them while lying about it. Isaac tells him to give them the golden pill. He adds that it is made up of 3% flour, 5% extract of the Skeleton King's mana, 1% for constipation, 0.5% extract of human hair, and 1% golden pill. He says that one can ingest more than that simply by breathing next to it. Isaac adds that they have lived easily thanks to She, so it's about time they started paying the price for what they have done to him. All of them beg, saying they can't take any more and ask for the antidote. Isaac starts searching for the antidote, saying that a promise is always a promise. He grabs a diaper, saying he has found the antidote. She cannot believe that Isaac kept the antidote in his leftover diaper. Isaac toys with the kids while handing them the antidote. Just then, furious Nigel enters the room, asking Isaac to return his spies. Before Isaac could do anything, the other guys quickly got up and asked Nigel not to come in their way or say anything to Isaac. They beat Nigel up. Isaac then tells him that he knows Nigel told the kids that people look toward overwhelming power in times of need. He tells him he is completely wrong. People tend to save their own asses first. Isaac continues saying everything is meaningless in the face of death. Nigel can't believe that Isaac is human, just because of how dreadful he looks while talking. Later, at the Sanctum of Seed's offices, the Cardinal is in his room when an apprentice comes inside. He lets him in, thinking that it took 7 days for him to see a special apprentice. The apprentice enters, apologizing and saying that Isaac did not come. The Cardinal is shocked and asks, is he not coming, even after taking the golden pill? The guy tells them that Isaac has given him a message to relay. He says, Isaac told me to send a large amount of gold next time. Hearing this, the pen in the patriarch's hand breaks. He looks at the kid and says, do everything at your disposal to bring Isaac to me. On the other hand, Angel returns after being humiliated. He thinks, at least I got something out of it. His men told him there's something about Isaac that prevents him from clashing with the Inquisitors. He figures he will find out more if he looks into Isaac and decides to uncover his secrets. Nigel calls the others, asking about their whereabouts. One of the men answers, I have some business with someone here. That's why we're here. He adds, tell Nigel to piss off. It would be a headache if they found out that my master wanted to see a man of Azure. Isaac arrives, asking about their delay. I told you to hurry up, he says. I need something from you for the tea party. The men wish Isaac could help them. One of them says, we're going to give you something, but the item is being prepared right now. Isaac tells them, bring the snacks by the end of the day. Team building exercises require snacks. Nigel can't believe that Isaac stole his men. As the guys are about to head back, Nigel uses his 5th rank holy magic called Repentance Hell and attacks the guys with it. He tells Isaac, I made it so my servants can get some rest as I have some business with you for now. He asks, do you want to take a test of faith? It will be fun. Shuri thinks if Isaac takes a test of faith, he will be scorched. If things go wrong, he could take down our entire house with him. Nigel says there is a device that responds to just a touch. We can use that. Just then, the Lord Cardinal appears, asking Isaac, you think of me as a fool for messing with my summon? Nigel turns to find Cardinal Barrett standing there, and it shocks him to his core. Seeing Nigel, Barrett tells him, I did not know you were this close to the House of Red. Barrett says, I didn't like how someone from House Red took my men down. Nigel can believe that those were with Cardinal Barrett. Isaac apologizes to Barrett. As I can see, Nigel has told me not to fraternize with the people of gold, so I couldn't respond to him in time. Isaac starts to curse at Isaac, telling him, I did not do this. Then he questions Barrett. None of the bishops were allowed to contact the students during training. Nigel keeps questioning Barrett, and Isaac thinks this is all fun. Barrett tells Nigel, I gave my time to get to know my team better, but it seems you have too much time on your hands. Nigel gets confused when Barrett says, I will specifically give my team more work from the Sancticides now. Then Barrett asks Isaac to come to his room. Isaac apologizes, saying, I think I have to see the Cardinal of Red first, since he called for me too. Nigel is shocked as he hears this. Isaac tells Barrett, I will see you some other time, as I just happen to have some plans at this moment. Barrett is shocked at hearing that even the Cardinal of Red called for him. Isaac confirms that he called for him, and Nigel is terrified that Isaac already knows, even though he never told him. Nigel thinks that at this rate, Barrett will disapprove of him and he will receive a bad review. He believes he should leave immediately. He quickly grabs Isaac, telling him that he came here to summon Isaac so he would take him with him. Barrett stays silent for a while, and Nigel is worried about whether this will work on him or not. But to his surprise, Barrett turns away, saying, if you had prior plans, then it's your choice. Then he tells Nigel, because you've inconvenienced my house, I'll give you more work tomorrow. Nigel figures he should take Isaac to his father, but in no time, Isaac has disappeared. Nigel looks around, and Shuri says, Isaac has gone to sleep. Nigel gets furious and begs Isaac to wake up, while the other kids ask Nigel to get out of the room. 3 days later, Nigel is cleaning because Barrett has decided to give him more work. He screams, claiming cleaning for 18 hours a day is not fair. He recalls that his father also refused to help him because he couldn't bring Isaac to him. Even his team members were complaining about him, criticizing his low grades. He figures that to win his father's approval, he needs to bring Isaac to him. He goes to the prayer room, waiting for Isaac, thinking he will ambush him there. 6 hours later, Nigel is still sitting there, but Isaac hasn't shown up. His team members appear, asking him to come out because they have work to do. Just as they are dragging him out, he notices Isaac sitting in the corner, waving at him. Nigel, he screams, pleading with his teammates to let him go, but no one listens. She asks, does Isaac come here on time just to mess with you? Isaac grins and replies, this is fun. But she interrupts, saying it would be more advantageous for us to meet the Cardinal of Red. Upon asking, she responds, Barrett will never give us the king. More questions follow, and she reveals, you should know the gardening scale. The king's talent is irreplaceable. He continues, if a cardinal gets angry, they might just give us a skeleton. They will be devoted back to the academy, and Cardinal Barrett probably wants to kill him too. Isaac questioned him about the possibility of having any beef with Barrett. Shuri revealed that his mother had been engaged to Cardinal Barrett, but his father had stolen her away. He added that the prior engagement was nullified because his father made it a thing between their entire families. This made Isaac think that Barrett would definitely want to kill him to shreds. She told him that he could keep Cardinal Barrett at bay if he befriended the Cardinal of Red, and the kids of Gold needed to pass Red's person too. This way, they wouldn't get any skeletons in Gold's pentagon. Isaac figured that she was right. This would work. He would meet the Cardinal of Red. But just then, a hand appeared beside him and took him away. Shuri turned to look at Isaac, but he was no longer there. Just then, Barrett was in his room reading. He ordered someone to come in. On his orders, a huge explosion occurred in his room. Isaac appeared. Isaac greeted him, asking, "Do you instruct your servants to kidnap me?" Barrett looks back and tells him, "I have something to tell you. Isaac asks, "Did you call me here because you've been ignoring me?" Barrett replies, "I want to adopt you as the son of the House of Gold." Isaac is taken aback by Barrett's offer. He's confused, wondering if Barrett is mocking him or if this is just another scheme that he tabs on Joshua. Barrett reassures him there's no trickery here. "I propose that you leave Joshua and join my house." Isaac's mind races, growing even more suspicious. Is this because the fake skeleton king called him a saint? But then again, he realizes he doesn't care about their intentions. He's not really a part of Joshua's family anyway. Isaac asks, "What will I get if I become your son?" Barrett stares at him, surprised. Isaac continues, "You should present the terms and conditions." He smirks, thinking that Isaac, even at his age, is already trying to make a deal. Barrett responds, "We'll give you everything Joshua couldn't, and the Abel family can make up for everything you lack." But Isaac laughs at his terms and conditions and tells Joshua he lacks nothing. Barrett says he has heard that Joshua is trying to confine him to the mansion. He tells him that the Vatican's faith demands patience and the suppressing of one's nature. He warns that Isaac might face countless restrictions moving forward. Barrett adds that the House of Gold will not interfere in any of his affairs. They will support him in whatever he does. Isaac tells him, "This sounds too little," and adds, "You are offering to back me as the next head of Barrett." Barrett asks, "Are you aiming for the Pope's position as well, including the saints? Do you not think that aiming for the Pope's position, the House of Gold, would be beneficial for you?" Isaac reminds him, "I am still a part of the Vatican." Barrett tells him, "I will grant you a land deed in your name, your own territory, a vault full of gold, a private army under your name, exclusive tax exemption rights, and a mansion that is bigger than Joshua's." He adds, "I will even grant you direct heir status." Isaac tells him, "I will consider your offer." Barrett says that he is glad such a fine deal is being made and that they will begin the affiliation process right away. Furiously, Barrett tells him, "Don't say anything to Joshua." Isaac agrees to keep it between them. Just then, Barrett moves out of the room and finds Shuri outside. He scares Shuri, who runs away, saying, "I haven't heard anything." Barrett sighs and returns, telling Isaac that nothing matters except his opinion. Even if you tell Joshua, nothing will matter. Isaac replies, "I've agreed to think about it, but I haven't accepted the deal yet." He adds, "I know I won't join the papal family, even if I die." Barrett confirms, "You won't join, even if you die." Isaac agrees. Barrett crumples a piece of paper in his hand, telling Isaac, "You resemble your mother a lot, both in your looks and the way you speak." He continues, "With just one word from me, you'll be excommunicated, and you'll never become a priest." Barrett tells him, "Forget about becoming the Pope. You won't even become a saint." He tells him that by the Vatican's authority, he can ban him from ever setting foot in the Holy Empire and asks, "Do you still want to say such things, even knowing my power?" Isaac smirked. "I'll just create a country where priests and popes are unnecessary," he replied. He then asked Barrett, "Does a nation really need two leaders?" He added, "It's going to be my country anyway." Barrett was shocked by Isaac's thoughts. Isaac smiled cutely. "I'll need at least this much courage to defeat the Skeleton King," he said, moving forward. "Pretend you never heard my offer of adoption. You're still better off for your excellency." He thanked Barrett, his voice soft. "I'm even more interested now." Isaac looked at him thoughtfully. "I wonder about the events of the ordination ceremony today. What led you to adopt a child from our rival house?" He smirked. "The people of the Empire must be incredibly curious too." At the Joshua mansion, Eli asked, "Did Isaac pass through the unison pentagon as well?" Eli frowned, thinking to himself, "This must all be because of my lack of faith." He kneels down and prays to his God, asking for his grandson to be gone. Reilly's elder brother comes and questions him about the events at the house while he was gone. He is Benjamin Joshua, the second son of the Joshua family. He asks Reil about his father using the Vatican's faith to curse others. "Is Isaac a problematic child?" he inquires. Reil responds, "He is kind, pure, well-mannered, and a smart kid." Benjamin questions his father's behavior. Reil sighs. He's just worried about his grandson. Benjamin shakes his head. He cannot inherit the house since he's the second son. It's good that a child with the potential to become the heir has appeared. But then, Benjamin pauses, his expression turning uneasy. "Still, I feel strangely uneasy about all this." Eli, standing nearby, questions, "Isn't the blessing supposed to work? I thought anyone struck by it would be so over-energized they'd trip over themselves and pass out for 3 days." Benjamin thinks for a moment. "That sounds more like a curse. And honestly, I feel relieved it didn't work." Just then, Lee Joshua appears. He is also a scientist and a candidate for the heir. He greets his uncle and grandfather with a respectful nod. While Lee greets Eli, he is still worried about the unison pentagon. He thinks the papal family is showing way too much interest in Isaac. He thinks if the Vatican is truly after his life, then it would be better for him to drop out and come back quickly. He thinks it is way too soon, though. It would have been all right if he had been ordained a year or two later, although he knows Isaac is too outstanding for the ordination to get delayed. Just then, their eyes go toward a letter. "What's that?" Benjamin asks, his voice laced with curiosity. The envelope looks too fancy to be used in Joshua. Eli sighs, glancing at the letter. "It's from our fourth brother," he says, his tone flat. This leaves them both confused and shocked. "Neil sent the letter? Really can barely believe it." Eli takes the letter and opens it. He's asking about my death and about me stepping down from being the patriarch. He shakes his head. "This is why we need to teach Isaac some manners. Our brother won't have any." Rai nods in agreement. "If you don't think Isaac is up for the job," Eli continues, "then Rai will be the next patriarch." Rai coughs, looking uncomfortable. Eli watches him for a moment, a thought lingering in his mind. Has Isaac passed Harmony? Then maybe there is some hope. Just then, a bird flies inside, cursing at the situation, and then transforms into Shellac. Eli asks, "Is something wrong?" Shal complains, "Isaac is running everywhere, beating the other kids with his rattler." He questions the insane lunatic who uses healing magic to harm other monsters. Eli replies, "That's Isaac for you." Ree and Benjamin look worried when Shellac tells them that Isaac has been blackmailing his teammates to pass. Benjamin notices that the servants have listened and are talking about this matter. Eli gets furious, telling everyone, Barrack should know that Isaac's grandfather is still alive and breathing, and they are attempting to steal his kin. On the other hand, the House Barrett has sent a great amount of gold to Joshua for Isaac. Everyone thinks that the rumors of Isaac being close to the Pope family must be true. Isaac figures this gold is compensation for shutting his mouth. On the other side, Shuri stands with loaves of gold for Isaac from Azure. Isaac is shocked to see this. He thinks if the patriarch has sent him this then. Just then, Shuri shows Isaac a paper. The patriarch has written that Isaac is one of them. Isaac is confused about such matters, but before he can process it, Shuri sees Lee approaching. Isaac turns and is even more shocked to see that the matriarch is here too. Everyone starts to cheer as Melissa and Lee appear. Isaac has tried his best to avoid her, but now she is finally here. Isaac tries his best to run somewhere to avoid Melissa and hides behind Shuri. As he was hiding, she asked, "Doesn't this look real?" Even though it was just a video from the communication orb. Isaac kicked Shuri, saying, "You scared me so badly." He added, "I thought Melissa was actually here." Melissa, looking at Isaac through the communication orb, asked, "Are you Isaac? I heard you've grown recently." She paused, then added, "I guess it's true that you beat the Skeleton King's curse." Isaac thought to himself, it's a good thing this is just from the communication orb. Since she wasn't seeing him in person, she couldn't recognize that he was the Skeleton King. Melissa then told him, "I heard you were kidnapped by his forces recently. That must have been difficult," but just as she said this, she noticed something and called his name. Isaac screamed, thinking, "Has she sensed me through the orb?" She asked, "I sense the power of the Skeleton King on you." Isaac panicked, thinking, this would be bad if she finds out the truth. Melissa continued depressed, and Isaac finally said, "It must be because I swallowed the Skeleton King's finger 10 years ago." Lisa and Lee both fell silent for a moment. Melissa said she had heard it from Really and insisted there was no way the Skeleton King would be here. Isaac thinks the finger he swallowed is finally proving useful. Melissa added, "If the Skeleton King were really here, I certainly wouldn't let him get away with it." Lee looks around at the others and asks if they've come just to observe the training progress. Nigel says, "I heard saints don't interfere in family matters, yet they're still here." Lee replies, "I came because I'm interested in you." Nigel is taken aback. Lee continues, "I heard you were supposed to be the next in line to lead your house, but you lost the entire Harmony team." She adds, "And your actions even caused setbacks for your teammates." Hearing this, Nigel collapses to the ground, overwhelmed by the harsh truth. Isaac thinks that Lee handled the situation in her usual effective way. Melissa turns to Isaac and says, "I prepared something special for you, a reward for your efforts." Isaac expects the gift to be money. However, Melissa says, "It's my ultimate skill. What is the most powerful holy attack that even defeated the Skeleton King?" Isaac grits his teeth, unwilling to accept the truth. But she is stunned. The saint's ultimate technique, something that can neither be bought nor stolen, is being gifted to Isaac. Nigel's teammates try to wake him up, saying this way Joshua will be able to move forward for them. One of Isaac's teammates kneels down, wondering if Isaac really believes he can have everything. Despite what happened with his team, Isaac steps forward and asks Melissa if there's something she wants to discuss. Then, a young man named Mullich, the eldest son of a fallen count and Nigel's top informant, speaks up. He tells Melissa that Isaac used a special substance to pass the Harmony trial. Melissa's eyes widen upon hearing this. Mullich continues, saying that a saint candidate had used something harmful against his own teammates. Melissa is taken aback by the accusation. Nigel thinks to himself that at least one of his agents has finally done something worthwhile. He hopes that if Isaac gets removed, he can add Mullich to his own team. Melissa turns to Isaac and calmly asks, "Do you really think that alone would be enough?" She tells him that poison is way too inefficient in improving one's mental fortitude and that he has done a terrible thing. The guy is shocked and says Isaac hit them until they were bruised black and blue. Melissa, again furiously, tells Isaac, "Hitting someone's flesh does not help with training at all. You should hit bones in the future." Hearing this, even Isaac is confused. Melissa says to express an apology, "I would want to break some of them myself." But Lee stops her, telling her, "You might kill the child." Lee then asks the kid, "Do you want some help?" She adds, "I can break your bones clean in just one try." Isaac steps in between, saying, "I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry." The kid is shocked at what just happened. Isaac tells him, "You should have listened to me when I was threatening you." Isaac smirks and says, "From now on, I'll become your meat shield and servant." Later in the room, Melissa asks, "Do you want to be the head of the household?" Isaac agrees. Melissa asks, "What's your plan for one day if you become the head?" Isaac says that he will remove the saints. She tries to warn him not to speak just like he usually does. Lee asks him, "Why remove the saintesses?" Isaac replies, "They don't need them." Then he adds, "I'll take down the skeleton king." He looks at Melissa and asks, "Won't you give up being a saint?" Lee gazes at Isaac in shock. Melissa responds, "I have committed a sin no man should." She recalls the moment when she told little Lee that she had one chance to kill the skeleton king. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, she remembers. The skeleton king could have definitely been slain, but I couldn't do it. When Lee asks, "Why?" she says, "I don't know. Maybe God hasn't forgiven me for it." Melissa continues, "It's because of me that the Joshua are cursed." Isaac is shocked by this revelation. She tells them, "We need to kill the skeleton king to undo the curse. It's a burden I must carry." Isaac asks, "What about the sin you committed?" Exactly. Melissa doesn't answer. Lee, however, thinks to himself that Melissa must have had her reasons for not killing the skeleton king. Then Melissa says, "This is the reason I wanted to see you today." Lee presents him with a scientist, Rosario. Isaac figures this is a saint test symbol, and it is the only one in the world. He is confused about the reason she is giving it to him. Melissa says, "I have stored my power in here because I heard your offensive holy spells are too weak. Use it whenever you wish." She adds, "You should use it instead of the offensive holy spells, since you won't survive the remaining pentagon with just the purification holy spells." She tells him she will visit him soon at the Helen Empire to give him lessons on how to take down the skeleton king. With that, she disappears, and Isaac wishes for her never to show her face again. Lee decides she should leave as well. Then she looks at Isaac and asks, "Do you have a Manor?" Isaac is shocked. Does she know he made one, even though Melissa didn't catch on to it? He thinks he should call her right away. Lee asks, as if she was mistaken, "Is that the thing in there? The monocore that was in the outer building?" Isaac tries to behave right, agreeing with her. He figures he forgot that he had the one he could not absorb right gear. He thought he could undo the seal on it using the holy spells, but it hasn't worked yet. Lee tells him, "My necklace should be able to undo the seal of the Manor." Isaac is shocked. He thinks she can undo it as well. Lee adds, "I don't know if you'll be able to use it, but I understand you're trying your best to revive the household's techniques." Isaac thinks that the seal has something to do with their techniques. Lee asks, "What are your plans after removing the saintesses?" Isaac replies, "I'll be a rich, unemployed guy." Lee waves at him, "I'll see you once your apprenticeship is over." As she leaves, Isaac thinks she is not normal either. Lee walks out, and Isaac waits for her return. Just then, the guy with her calls, saying the necklace is an item that could help you find the secret techniques of the household. Lee agrees, "I know." The guy reminds her, "It's the heirloom," and the household head passed it down to her. So all other direct lineages want it. She says if someone manages to steal it from Isaac, then she guesses that Isaac is not as skilled as he thought he was. The guy says that if Isaac succeeds in keeping it, he will definitely become the household head. Lee says it is better than him going to the Sancticides. She chuckles, recalling him wanting to take down the skeleton king and remove the saintesses. She looks outside the window, wanting him to take down the skeleton king. At the same time, Isaac is excited and happy about reviewing the heirloom. Later, it is raining heavily outside. Gowel comes home and the servant meets him, telling him it has been so long since she saw him. Gowel asks if she is doing all right. She says that she is the same as always and asks about Joshua. Gowel says that he is trash as usual. She also calls them hypocrites, telling them this is expected of them. Gowel says that sometimes he is worried he might get attached to them. He thinks about something happening at the ordination. He recalls that the member of the clergy who was in charge of Isaac's ordination was found dead in the forest by the monsters. He thinks it was bad enough to get rid of the witnesses. He also questions the House of Gold wanting to adopt Isaac and thinks there's no way they would do that unless they are all insane. Goel thinks there are many things that are weird here. He also thinks that his mother is one of them, but his life could be in danger if he digs too deep. He tells the servant that he will be resting and asks her not to come until he calls her. He then laughs, thinking he could never get attached to them, because he was the one who handed Barrett Joshua's rights. There are moments when he thinks he's gotten too close to Joshua, but he feels nothing for that household. In the classified information storage of Barrett's office, Goel is searching for something on Isaac Joshua. He finds the mark that Isaac picked at his ordination. He gets furious as he figures he has been chosen by the greatest gods. He closes the book, thinking this is the reason the House of the Pope wants him. He figures this is no more about sanctids, this is about whether the House of Barrett lives or dies. He runs, thinking that this may be about the survival of the Empire now. Clothes lie scattered here and there in Isaac's room. Whisper asks, is this money enough for you to find a weapon to destroy the binding orb? Isaac replies, it's barely possible. He adds, the problem is the anti-demonic stone. Whisper explains, not only does it destroy all mana, but it is also immune to mana, aura, and holy powers. Isaac responds, turning the binding orb that bound my minions into an anti-demonic stone seems crazy. Whisper counters, this is the only way to take down a ninth circle demon. Isaac decides to try removing the binds on the Manor. Whisper is excited, you're finally going to absorb it. Isaac recalls what Lee told him, that this would release the binds. He says, I've never seen anything like this before. Within seconds, the binds open and Isaac is attacked by the tablet-like thing in his hand. Whisper gets excited and asks Isaac to eat it. Isaac says, this is more mana than I expected. He adds, this is enough to increase my magic rank. I'll be able to spam higher level spells now. He laughs and screams while gathering up all the mana. Then suddenly he notices his hand has changed into a skeleton hand. Isaac screams as he sees this. Sitting on his bed, he curses the skeleton that appears again. Isaac thinks this is all because of the curse. He thinks of the curse that allowed the Skeleton King to become the strongest demon lord ever, the reversal of the living and the dead. Whisper asks, will the curse take over your body? Isaac responds, this body has tons of blessings. It won't be consumed this easily. He adds, the curse just got really powerful all of a sudden because my mana increased so much. I can grow my holy powers to suppress it, but that requires praying and I'm not sure how long it will last. Whisper tells him, your body converts mana to divine mana automatically, so he should wait. He adds that he can maybe suck out mana from Rosario. Isaac tells him that it would be a waste and says, this cannot be helped. He decides to use the pentagon to his advantage. He says, if I use the test of red, the heretical test properly, I can grow my holy mana massively. He figures he will just have to bind his right hand until then. Just as Shuri comes questioning about his whereabouts, Isaac thinks this is bad. Isaac laughs to himself. Shuri tells him not to do that, saying, you're scaring yourself. She asked him the reason for hiding his arm. Isaac replies, I'm not hiding it. It's nothing. Shuri moves forward, grabs his arm, and gets scared, asking, are those bones? Whisper urges Isaac to use the memory deletion magic quickly, but Isaac thinks I'll be found out if I use it on another human. She asked if his ethics are rotten because of his body. She tells him, you should have told someone if this was happening to you. Everyone thinks you're evil just because. At first, Isaac was shocked, but then he recalled that the curse that befalls all Joshua men is that they are either born talentless or born talented, but with a significant physical flaw. Shuri tells him, one of our ancestors had the same problem. She mumbles, questioning about the physical crippling of the hand and why it's so ethically challenged. Isaac sees him thinking and wonders if he should just kill him. Shuri says, we should tell Eli everything so he can be healed. That would help extend his lifespan too. Isaac figures that if he tells them, they would know he is the Skeleton King. He asks Shuri not to tell them. Isaac says, I don't want to make my family worry about me, especially now that the Pentagon is here. I want to execute the Skeleton King's minions before I die. Shuri tears up hearing this. Isaac tells him, don't worry, I won't die and we'll find a way. Shuri asks, what's the way? I can help. Isaac looks back, telling him, deliver something to the Cardinal of Red.